Episode 72 is a special one. It's a cracker jacker, and we're here yet again. My name's Abhi Chegde in the RCB pink. Yes, they do have a pink jersey, and as you can see, the white and black of cricket.com. Good to see Nikhil Popat and the top G's reach 100K on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just celebrate that before I come to Akshay. And hopefully, you guys can get into 500K next, and then a million and much more, because he is honestly an OG. Next, welcome to the show. You've had a refreshed weekend and CSK won, so definitely keen to hear your thoughts, my friend. Just take a pause and a breather, because we're watching the LHGDC game as we're doing this lovely podcast for you all. But the other man who's been, of course, doing a lot of stuff live content-wise in cricket.com is Akshay Kumaraswamy, still wearing the glasses. Need to ask him about that. But look, let me ask you first, Akshay. First weekend of IPL 2025. How do you feel?
As excited as ever. I mean, IPL's always been my jam, so super excited and happy to see a few interesting encounters. Hopefully, we'll get to see a thriller tonight. But all in all, very happy with what's what we've seen so far. Fingers crossed, we're in for a hell of a tournament going forward.
Absolutely. We'll talk about so many things which the weekend saw. But first thoughts from Nikhil Popat. Like I gave him a brief introduction. First of all, landmark, done and dusted. Next, what's next personally? And then, of course, tell me about your IPL weekend.
Honestly, very, very grateful. Thanks to you all as well, both the men sitting here and the people watching. You've been a crucial part of all of this. Never thought I would get here, but here we are. Plenty still to do, plenty still to learn. Had a good break just before the start of the IPL. When life throws challenges, all you can do is just accept them and make the most of it. We don't know how it will go. So happy, looking forward to the IPL. Already a lot of Indian names doing well. One has already done well today. So that is good, because talent is meeting opportunity now to make the next stage. So very excited for this IPL. Hopefully all goes well.
All should go well, because both our teams have got off to winning starts. I know Mumbai Indians were done last night in the El-Clasico. We'll talk about the absolute run fest in Uppal, Hyderabad, where certain Ishan Kishan got the third fastest 100 for SRH, not even the first but the second, because obviously Travis Head against RCB, 39 balls was the first one, and then David Warner with a 43 ball ton, I think he did get against KKR. Right, enough of my fluff. Let's tell you what we can expect in this Monday Night Live. First and foremost, we are doing Monday Night Live during the IPL. Now, that's something that you guys, of course, have asked us for in numerous podcasts gone by. So we thought, let's just do it. And I know you guys will be distracted. Many people might not be watching at the time, but don't worry, because I know you guys will get your cricket fix with us. So we're going to be talking about pretty much everything, all the games done and dusted so far, what we've perceived as vibes and tribes, and maybe some jibes, as the thumbnail suggests. And we'll also get a comedian on the show, in Sorabh Pant, and talk to him about what he's like and dislike. Not to forget, the best of the rest includes New Zealand, Pakistan, the Duleep Trophy, and other cricketing newsy news, which will definitely tickle your pickle. Akshay, let's start KKR RCB. Let's start Lut Put Gaye, or should we talk which king was better?
I mean, lut put guy for sure. I was lut out first by Surya Sharma, but happy to have been proven wrong there, because बहुत मतलब मार खाने का ऐसा अज़मा ले रखा था उन्होंने, and thankfully he somehow came good over there with that googly. But yeah, all in all, very happy with the tournament opener. KKR has sort of become a bogey team for us in the last couple of years. We've not been able to win against them, and the way they started, I mean, the way we started off first 3 overs, it was like, "Arey bhai, chalo, Hazelwood, everything's going fine." And from there, Rahane and Narayan really took us to the cleaners. Very happy, man. Very happy with the day. They played a very clinical performance. This was exactly the kind of performance I was hoping they would come up with at the end of the auction. Krunal Pandya being the defensive option, Hazelwood being good across phases, Phil Sort being his attacking self, Rajat Patidar taking on spin, Kohli staying till the end of the innings. All those boxes were ticked in the very first game, which also now makes me wonder, the pessimistic fan that I am, कि have we peaked too early already? कि हो गया, अभी जो भी करना था सब उन्होंने एक ही मैच में खत्म कर लिया. इसके बाद I don't know what to expect off of them. But yeah, super happy with the performance they came up with.
Yeah, I mean, Akshay and us, me gave our thoughts during the watch along. So fascinated to know what Nick's made of it in terms of KKR's strengths and weaknesses, because the game almost swung like a pendulum, 9 for 1, and then that amazing partnership, RCB coming back, and then, of course, clinching it with a chase. Where were you flummoxed at times? Where were you kind of surprised? Both KKR and RCB. You can start with whichever team you want to.
Yeah, I think RCB, in my opinion, won with Krunal. I think that was a very, very, very good spell because uh, when they went off, you felt like, dude, they've got to start now. And if they don't take wickets in the middle overs, it could go anywhere. And you didn't see Suyash give you that kind of a vibe that okay, he'll come good and he'll take 2-3. So it was important that Krunal kept the runs down, but also struck. And struck he did first with Rahane. And the thing that no matter 12 batters, 15 batters, back-to-back wickets are always handy. And that is what I feel pegged KKR back right through that game, that they could never just really get on top. And I still cannot fathom how at times, again, you very early into the season, but sometimes I just feel teams need to be really clear with Russell. Don't take the match apart. I am more than happy to play out you playing out a maiden for the sake of it, but don't just take out the worst possible matchup for you, because everybody in that stadium knew okay, Suyash will bowl the googly. It was as evident. It could have come in the newspaper in the morning, but still he went for it. So again, the point here is it's to not say don't play a national game. It's just reading the situation as well. So you look at that one moment, and the another moment that really stuck with me was penultimate over. Last ball, Harshit takes a single. And then the last over, he's at the strikers and for three balls with Ramandeep at the other end, waiting, bhai, if he connects, I'll get on strike. Those are not the kind of mistakes you expect champion teams to make. So again, I'd possibly rule it out as just an off day. With the ball, I think Salt really set the tone, and you're not coming back from that kind of a start that Virat and Salt had. So overall, very good win for RCB. Even more so because middle overs is what we had pondered upon, that what could happen in those middle overs. So good win for RCB in that regard.
Yeah, very clinical bowling performance, Akshay. The fact that they turned that game around quite convincingly. I mean, in the cold light of day, when I look at it, yes, plenty of positives for RCB. And of course, the real test will be on Friday. We'll preview that game later on in the show. Please quickly like this video, guys. I know you guys might be watching the LHGDC game and you might not have come across the MNL podcast on your YouTube feed as yet. But if you do, like this video because we are getting Sorabh Pant on the show very, very shortly. So on RCB, my quick 2 pence. The fact that Virat is, of course, kicking off from last year. He's not played a T20 game in 9 months, but still good to see that slog sweep is there in that sort of artillery of his. And I just think Phil Salt, maybe it was the ground that he was familiar with that boded well in terms of getting into his RCB debut and going on his way. Liam Livingston as well, none for 14 in his 2 overs and 5 ball 15. I would take that just to kind of give him a little bit more confidence. But KKR, Akshay, it just baffles me because you think of them automatically as champions and they lost Salt, Shreyas and Stark. And you take those 3 guys out of any team, you're going to be filling a huge void. So, look, we'll keep it short and sweet with the KKR RCB review, but we'll move on to the other games because I definitely want to get Nikhil's and Akshay's thoughts on SRH RR because we didn't, of course, do a watch along for that. And I'm keen to know what the boys think about the left-handers, the Tabahi brothers, apparently, that they're calling them at the top of the order. Right, quick couple of comments before we move on to the boys. Asmit saying, Akshay Bhai, assuming Bhuvi's fit to play, how should RCB slot him in the playing 11? Would you play him in place of Suyash, Krunal, Liam being 2 spinners? Comes in for Suyash, I'm guessing.
But given that the game is happening in Chennai, that's where the conundrum is. I might not necessarily play Suyash. I don't mind them going to someone like a Swapnil Singh as well, who offers more control. So if that's what they're looking at, or they'll stick to Suyash, but I think you will need a third spin option at the very least. So I'm guessing Bhuvi might come in place of, one of Rasik or Yash. Wouldn't be surprised if it is Rasik, given that Yash ko unhone back kiya hua hai. And he was also the bowler given the ball at the death ahead of Rasik. So clearly they trust him more. So I wouldn't be surprised just for Chepauk, given how the conditions are and given how it played yesterday, they might probably replace, Rasik with Bhuvi and hold on to Suyash or replace him with someone like a Swapnil Singh.
Very interesting. Remember, if you guys miss out a couple of questions, don't feel disheartened. There is a 12th-man segment as well waiting for us. Like these, New Relax with Asan. We'll talk about the LHG DC game in just a bit. Sports fan also kind of asking a similar vein with regards to the Delhi question. And Asim Khan saying, could Salt have been the missing ingredient in the RCB camp to help overturn their fortunes versus KKR? who knows? And KKR with 30, 40 run shots, reckon Greg. Their middle order is weak. Right, plenty to talk about and digest in this Monday Night Live podcast, episode 72. Remember, if you guys are, of course, a fan of cricket.com, check out our revamped website and the Instagram account and the Twitter page and the Reddit page. Reddit, I know, is mostly for other things, but you've stumbled upon crazy things on cricket.com, including Fancams, right? Really, before we go into the SRH RR game, we can make a 3-sim into a 4-sim in a cricketing way. And we can have the lad on with regards to Sorabh Pant joining us. I mean, I was trying to think of Sorabh Pant's cricketing doppelganger, guys. And you guys, can you help me out? I mean, the obvious is Monu Singh. There is, of course, shouts at Darren Mitchell, but then with a certain tan, maybe. We'll get Sorabh on in just a second. But Akshay, Nikhil, any quick ones before we get the comedian on?
Monu Singh is interesting. I would still think of someone like a Timol Mills, but I'm trying to think if I can come across any more names. Timol, okay. I'll go with him for now.
You'll go with Timol Mills. Let's ask him himself, shall we? Because we can get Sorabh Pant on. And Sorabh, good to see you. Welcome back to the cricket.com platform. And it's always just an honor to get your thoughts sometimes. Not really, actually. But look, you're here. And we've seen your preview as well, which is a fantastic one. And I know you blamed Antriksh, was the lad literally going to be sacked the next morning. You can tell us more. But look, happy to have you on, mate. How are you?
Hey, listen, first of all, congrats on naming 2 bald cricketers. Great congratulations to both of you to remember 2 people. You didn't include Nathan Lyon, Shikhar Dhawan, Ramiz Raja allegedly, Virender Sehwag before the transplant, Akshar Patel before the transplant, Mohammad Shami before the transplant. There's a lot of us out there. I mean, it's amazing that Avnish looks like Rahane got run over by a road roller and I am being judged.
I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. Do you have doppelgangers for the rest of the crew as well? Akshay, Nikhil, and Glasses? All 3 of you are, in fact, 75% of the panel.
No, it's all right. I'd much rather not be run over by anyone at this point in time. After having seen RCB do well, I'm just hoping that I can get to see them do something better this season. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Okay, let's get your thoughts then, boys, on the SRH RR game. Because Saurabh, we were talking about the KKR RCB game, and of course, we've spoken about it quite a bit. But let's move on to that run fest. When you were watching it, all of us thought, yeah, it's going to be easy 200 plus score. But no one thought that they'll nearly break their own bloody record that they did last year. So how do you look back on that SRH RR game on Sunday afternoon?
So I'll be honest. I was doing a show for this is all true. I was doing a private show for a group of Gujaratis at the point where SRH RR was going on, and then after that got done, in the Indian comedy scene there was another kind of carnage happening. So I was a little preoccupied with that. Where also after a point you're like, hey, can the hitting stop? So I felt the same way in both directions. I did see the SRH versus RR highlights, which honestly is a redundant term. There was no point watching the highlights because I'm seeing this. I'm like, what are these stupid scores? And I'll be frank, I think it's a very, very unpopular opinion. I love Ishan Kishan, Abhishek Sharma, Travis Head, and Klaasen, all of them. But it's just, I don't enjoy these matches at all. It's really frustrating to watch. There's no fun in it. I don't understand it because it becomes like, you know how on Instagram has sort of taught you to become completely it's numbed you to any kind of bad news because it's constant bad news. This is the reverse here because a 6 has no value. It's like Dogecoin. It's absolutely pointless. So I don't get it. I don't understand the point of these matches where it's such carnage.
I mean, it's insane, right? Like, Nix, I'll come to you here with regards to how it all unfolded. When Klaasen walked out, 300 was probably on the cards. So do you think it's going to actually happen? Because everyone's saying up ki bar, 300 par. Will it be true?
Well, for all I know, at least I'm happy for Ishan Kishan to do well. Personally, I think that was my biggest taken point because not just that, because I have called him as potential hero for SRS this season, but the guy was shunted out of the setup just like Makhi, and he's come back, and to come back with a century at SRH, I think was very good. Do completely by the point that Saurabh made about such games not being, you don't want these to be a regular stuff. 1 in 10 games is okay because then we'll be able to like, chalo ek baar, we'll give you something more. So I'm looking at that aspect as well. I just hope it's only the SRH home games that go like this because I genuinely expect maybe Vizag might, it looks like Vizag might go the same way, but it still shouldn't be 250, 260. So, well, if they pull this off and win the IPL, who are we to complain? But for SRH, I am personally very, very happy with Ishan Kishan because I just feel the lad lost too much time at his best, and he has lost to catch up with the competition. Look at people who've gone past him. Jaiswal has gone past him. Sanju has gone past him into the opening setup. Nitish Kumar Reddy has gone past him. So, in that sense, I feel it was very important, and that's my perspective on SRH game. Shabaz, you've done the ritual, which is good. We love people on mute everywhere.
Sorry, my bad. Lots of things to talk about with regards to the RR unit, but again,
sorry, I gotta ask you guys this actually. I'm quite because what Nikhil said was actually great because Ishan Kishan has been one of my favorite cricketers for a long time, and he was just shafted for absolutely no reason. I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Maybe there was some attempted murder charges on him or somebody like from the selectors of the BCCI somewhere he picked up or something like that. Because otherwise, I don't understand any logic behind how they just like threw him off. For not playing Ranji Trophy and him saying he had mental health issues, and you start realizing India doesn't understand the concept of such things. This doesn't occur. Mental health doesn't occur in Bollywood, in cricket, nowhere it occurs. I mean, it's prevalent in a lot of society industries. Again, not commenting on things that are happening in the Indian comedy scene, but I felt really bad.
The mental health bit as well. I don't think it's a fact. I don't think BCCI was upset with the fact that he's taking a mental health break. What was probably even more funny and sad was the fact that there were reports coming out. Ishan Kishan is supposedly on a mental health break and he's been found partying. I mean, that's what you do, right? When you are, sort of taking a break, you just want to spend your downtime doing whatever it is that, gets you relaxed enough. That was the bigger problem that everyone had. How was he partying during the break? Because
that's literally how you get your mental health back to normal is by parting and letting this team out. And I think our expectations of our players is that if you've lost a match, you should be lying in a corner, soaked in your own tears, pontificating death. And there is nothing short of that is allowed to be happening except like you had good time. How you had good time? We had bad time watching you. You should also feel sad. It's ridiculous. So I agree with Nikhil. I think Ishan Kishan fantastic knock, man. That was some of the hitting was great. Though you have to say, dude, that one shot by Dhruv Jorel, my God, that one little point he did like that. I was like, what the boy? This is ping pong on a cricket field, dude. It's beautiful.
It's insane. This one stat got my page on Twitter. I think it was cricket.com. I think it popped out first. Most boundaries ever scored in an IPL game, SRH, which is ridiculous. And it was a really shit day, probably the darkest day ever for Jofra Archer. None for 76. Do you think any bowler can top that, Akshay, Nikhil?
I mean, sure, why not? I wouldn't be surprised if Jofra gets more game time this season around. He himself might try and break that record because, again, I agree with Nikhil Bhai and
Sorry, I'll just come in here because the fact that, okay, bowlers can be hit, but like they can, of course, control the controllables sometimes. And I was really like furious with Teeksina, who's bowling the power play and overstepping like an absolute, you know what I mean? Like, and that's not like it's a crime for a spinner. It's an absolute crime. I remember Chahal used to do that from time to time. They used to do that. Sorry?
I said, Sunil Gavaskar, asli ID se aa jao, bhai, kya hai? It's a crime for a spinner to bowl a no ball. Reminded me of him, but I agree with you on that. I completely agree with you on that. Like, but apart from the surface itself, there's been a lot of chatter around the surface and how it's extremely flat surfaces that's leading to high scores. I don't know to what extent do I agree with that because these surfaces have existed for a while. Chinnaswamy has been flat. You've come to expect high scores of Kolkata as well. I must say the bowling in general has been very bang average this season. Like Archer, the way he was bowling to, I mean, there was no plan, there was no thinking. He was just going through the motions left, right, and center despite being tanked. And that's my biggest problem. In fact, yesterday during our watch along, this was one of the conversations we were having where right now, the way I look at it is, batting's evolved, bowling is also evolving. It's just that the pace of evolution for batters has been a lot more steeper. They've just managed to evolve better. They've understood, the modern day T20 cricket a lot better than bowlers. The moment bowlers also start, so Jasprit Bumrah is probably an outlier there. Barring that, I don't see too many bowlers who've actually evolved. Like Han, you see bowlers consistently bowling slot balls, bowling over pitch deliveries. You're not expecting batters to, just tap that down for a single. Gone are the days when hit a six and then bhai single yellow, get to the non-strikers then and you chill. doesn't work that way. Now batters are coming at you every ball. Just look at Puran, the way he's batted right now. He was dropped the previous delivery. Next ball, he steps down the track and he's going for it. That's it. They've understood 20 overs is all there is, 120 balls. I'm going to take the risk every ball. Now, bowlers need to understand that. That's where I think bowlers probably need to get better. I mean, I'm not saying that the conditions aren't in favor of batters, but I think batters have evolved or they've made the adjustments a lot more quicker. That's where I think bowlers probably need to play a bit of catch up.
Okay, let's have some fun right now. 1 second, quickly. And Sorabh,
sorry, before you do that, I just like to point out that I think everybody should call out for the fact that Avnish said Jofra Archer was having the darkest of days. And given the comments that came on about Harbhajan Singh, I think this is absolutely horrendous behavior on his part. I think he should be called out. Nikhil is nodding as well. Because also, like, I just want to point out that Harbhajan Singh was called out for basically saying Kali Pili taxi about Jofra Archer when he clearly said he's talking about the run rate at which he's going. So I love how people are just worked up about anything in this country and the fraternity. And oddly enough, most of the comments are coming from outside India, where people are just like waiting to attack on India for some reason. So I was like, dude, he clearly said it about the taxi. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, Avnish, please go ahead. Sorry.
No, absolutely. I mean, hilarious from some quarters, and people are absolutely slandering Harbhajan on Twitter, rightly so, wrongly so. Let me know. But what you guys can tell me in the chat as well: who do you think is going to score 300 in the tournament? If it's SRH, great. But if there's not SRH, who's it going to be? And give me a highest score prediction this season. What is the barrier? 310, 308, 303. You guys can go for anything, and then we'll revisit this episode, and then we'll clip it out if anyone gets it right. So, Sorabh, I'll start with you. Highest score in IPL 2025.
I think it's going to be 296 by SRH, and I don't think 300 is going to get breached. But SR, I think somebody pointed out very rightly, which is that Ishan Kishan said, right? He messaged Abhishek Sharma. He's like, "What's my role?" And he's like, "You just have to hit, dude. That's all you have to do." And I'm like, "That's perfect. Like, that's what a freeing thing where you're like, just hit, dude. Don't think twice." Like, I think right now in this match that's happening, Nicholas Pooran did a forward defense, and Ian Bishop was like, "That's a rare sight." Yeah, dude, who does a forward defense in the IPL, especially Nicholas Pooran? So I think it's definitely going to be SRH. I somehow doubt it's 300 is going to get breached, but it'll get close.
Okay, SRH 296. It's a fair call. Akshay, what do you think?
I don't think we're going past 286. कल जो हो गया अभी हो गया बस उतना ही रहेगा. I don't think 300 वो number के लिए सब जाने वाला है, but everyone will just come close without getting the cigar. So 286, I don't think even that's being reached this season.
Abbas Kunde disagrees with you, I think. Samit VK saying
Punjab of all teams, interesting. Priyansh Arya double-handed, I guess.
Priyansh Arya double-handed. He's hit 6 sixes in an over. Let's see if he can do that 16 more times, maybe. Nix, are you topping 286? Are you agreeing with 296?
I don't know. The first number that came to my mind was 309. Maybe spoiled by that number, even 311. But I want to point out that Akshay is such a guy covering every base. In the previews for SRH, he said they will be the first team to score 300 and they will be the first team to concede 300. And he's like, he's like 286.
I never said first team. I said they have the ability to concede 300. They have the ability to score 300. That I agree with.
Udhar 300 ke liye bhi gaya, but abhi so 286.
Ability to score 300 or actually scoring 300 mein farak hai na bhai. Are ye kya baat?
But you also kind of put SRH in your bottom trawlers of IPL 2025, right? I mean, I did as well, and that's where Ravi Kiran's saying, are we kind of willing to take our words back? Not yet. Still early days, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Internet
I mean, just to set context, because obviously MNL predictions, you guys know what we said. But sort of, what's your predictions really quickly? IPL winner, top 4, orange cap, purple cap, surprises.
Dude, I have absolutely no clue because I don't even know what the teams are, man. It's like, say, I know you guys like, and cricket.com, I mean, I've been following you guys diligently to try and figure out some information, but who the hell is where? And I completely agree. I think, was it Ashwin who said that this shuffling every 3 years is absolutely ridiculous? I find it damn annoying. Like, you've just gotten to like a player in a particular side and suddenly you're like, okay, there's no options. And like, I don't know, man. I generally, like, yesterday, while watching Ishan Kishan in SRH colors, I'm like, yeah, this suits the guy. It looks like he looks like a Diwali firecracker ready to go. It all works out nicely for Ishan Kishan. The rest of them, I don't even understand where anybody is. So it's frankly crazy confusing. But you know what? Since you asked the question, I'm just going to put it out there. Okay, let's try. I'm going to say Varun Chakravarti for the purple cap. And I'm going to say orange cap. Let's go, Ishan Kishan, dude. Come on. I mean, what a slap in the face for everybody. And I mean, look, I mean, I'm an Indian, but sometimes I just think some of the rules that we have about cricketers are just like so suiting the bigger players. So yeah, I'm all for these two people.
That's a good call. Do we agree with him, boys? Is anyone in tangent with
I
those
did go for
predictions?
Varun Chakravarti myself. I went for Sai Sudarshan as my orange cap holder. So let's see.
That's ridiculous. Okay, let's come on to this game right now.
He just dismissed you outright. He's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, because there's some slanderous calls he makes even in the watch along, but we'll let him be. And I don't know why this room feels like it's like a African savannah, but it's getting absolutely toasty, should I say the least. On that note, we're doing this podcast during the LHGDC game. There's no watch along today, only Friday, Saturday, Sunday, of course. But 133 for 2 in the first 70 balls that LHG have faced in this IPL. And Marsh, I think, has just perished. But let's talk about this game really quickly, guys. No KL Rahul. Now, the news we understand is that he's, of course, going to be a father soon. So he's tending to parenthood, right? Have I got that right, guys? That's what Indian Express tells me.
He's not available for selection. That's what's been told. He's been a part of the setup, but not available for selection. But I don't see, I mean, for some reason, not enough people are talking about Natarajan's absence here, which I think is the bigger hole. Rahul ka to they have enough options in the squad. Natarajan was supposed to be that linchpin in their pace attack, someone who's going to handle the death overs, and that is going to be a huge miss for them. But
what's the update there?
We haven't heard anything. Toss maybe, and for some reason, they don't ask the captains. They do everything but asking the captain actual information. खाना खा लिया आपने, खाना कैसा था, खाने में क्या था, अच्छा ये अच्छा वो ये सब पूछ लेंगे बकवास, लेकिन टीम चेंजेस नहीं पूछेंगे, कौन इंजर्ड है, कौन ये नहीं पूछना इनको बस.
You know the other ridiculous thing which has been happening in the toss is that little remote control car. The first toss it didn't work. The second toss it bloody worked, and how? And sort of your thoughts on just these little innovations?
Sorry, what is the remote control car? What did they do? They got the toss stamp to the remote control car, is it?
Yeah, so they have a little remote control toy car which gives the coin to the toss rep, who hands it over to the match referee, who hands it over to the captain, which is incredible, and that only takes up 5 seconds.
I love how so much of cricket entertainment is just based on things that would entertain 8-year-olds. Like, this is what 8-year-olds under my building are like, uncle, see, I can drive the car. It's just grown-ups going like, look at my car. It's going to do the toss right now. And so, okay, is it a sponsor-based thing? Is it like at least C8 tires or something like that? I mean, that would at least make sense.
It's normally how they do it with football tournaments where they kind of just get it in the center circle and they do all of that kind of fancy stuff.
Sponsor ka bhi naam hai na? I'm forgetting who is the sponsor.
I think it's sponsored by Salman Khan's restaurant or Bhaijan's.
भाई अभी ट्रेलर आया तो प्रमोट तो करना पड़ेगा ना सब कुछ तो makes sense. But about the car itself, I don't know if you guys saw first day, the car goes in reverse. So Rajat Patidar decides, I'm not going to wait for the car to come to me. He walks up to the car and takes the coin himself. I'm not wasting time. It's sometimes just borderline hilarious what they're trying to do over there. What are they even trying to achieve? It's just crazy.
No, absolutely. I just try to come to some of the IPL broadcasting faults as well. I don't know if Sorabh picked up on this. The first 2 balls were apparently bowled by Virat Kohli in this year's IPL.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that was weird. The other one was the hit wicket instance. I think the ball was out of play, but there was no Alex Carey apparently for RCB when yeah. Then there was another devious one last night. Apparently, now of course, I'm not saying this from an RCB perspective. Neither am I tarnishing Knicks and the CSK fans. There was sandpaper allegations with Khalil Ahmed and the party. Which, look, I'm not saying anything, but these are the small things to come out of week 1.
We all have a lot of free time.
What were the allegations? What did they say? That he did the sandpaper?
There's a clip going
There's just a clip going around.
Yeah, where Ruturaj is, it seems again, this is all, it just nicely, it's also like the quality of the video is blurred. GIF jaisa thoda slow-mo mein chal raha hai. So it's just the perfect mix of everything, and you also let your imaginations go wild. It seems like Ruturaj Gaikwad is handing something to Khalil. Khalil seems to have just rubbed one side of the ball, then once again he hands something back to Ruturaj, and Ruturaj then keeps his hand back in the pocket. This is the chain of events. This actually, it seems like this is happening. Baki, again, I'm not saying this has happened. It's just funny. Like, of course, our imaginations also go wild, and we love a nice, juicy conspiracy theory. And what better than CSK doing something?
I think it'd be
Okay,
better,
wait.
like rather than sandpaper, it'd be better if they said, "Dude, they did ecstasy in the middle of the match. He gave, he gave him some drugs, and that's why Khalil was on fire. He's like all just stoned. He's like, yeah, man, we're gonna get these people out. 2 wickets for me today, assured." So, yeah.
No,
Nikhil
Khalil
has
was.
nothing to say. I mean, he's our resident CSK fan, so clearly staying away from it.
No, we'll come to the CSK
Yes,
MI game. I was going to touch upon it for sure, but I just want to finish up where we started this whole chat with LSGDC happening right now. We spoke about Rahul missing out briefly. I want to also ask you guys who drops out when Rahul eventually comes back in, and we'll talk about Pant and how he's going to be batting 2 down pretty much in this IPL because he just walked out of bat. So let's just finish off that Rahul conversation. Nick's, who goes out, who comes in from a cricket analytical point of view? Enlighten me.
I think Samir clearly goes out. Maybe then they can use him as an impact sub, if at all that way, if at all that's how it works out. Because honestly, that's the only spot that's there. Screaming in front of you, can maybe this guy goes out and it's a straight shot. Again, it's listed to bat at 4. So I think it looks like a straight shot there.
Okay. What about just LSG worries, boys? Because they've lost pretty much half their pace attack, which they've spent 30 crores for. All of them nursing the injuries in NCA, not too far away from me. Purin's just got a 50. I don't know if LSG have the best Aussie coach in the league because there's Dan Vittori and SRH, there's Ricky Ponting in Punjab. So again, I'll leave the floor open to you guys. Where do you guys stand in this team? Is it fair to say that LSG is the inevitable 10th for pretty much 70% of the Indian fans watching the IPL this year? Akshay?
I mean, I have them pegged for being wooden spoon contenders in my bingo card, so fingers crossed that does come through. And I just love how Avnish has decided that Dan Vettori abhi hai Australia. Ki baki chodo,
Yeah.
he's very
I've now, bro, he stays in Australia. He's like done a mockle. You know what I mean? He stays in Australia. He's in
So
Brisbane.
technically, Waqar Yunus and Wasim Akram are also Australians.
exactly.
I mean, Russell Arnold also. He's actually got like
Yeah.
place in Sydney, I think it is. But yeah, I mean, where do you guys stand in the whole LSG just being this season? Sorabh, I'll come to you. Do you like them, hate them? Do you know them?
I honestly, dude, I don't. I'm not too. I was really looking forward to Wasim Khan. He's out, which is like, I mean, really. I mean, it's also like all the guys you're looking forward to every IPL, which is Mayank Yadav, Wasim Khan. They are just injured invariably. And I know that fast bowling is like crazy, but it's. I mean, it's. I feel really bad, especially Wasim Khan. Thought like, I mean, India contender, man, for sure. Like, I mean, he was a hard. That hard left arm pace, right? Because in India, if you notice, most of the left arm pacers who played for the country have all been. Nobody's hit that dhadak, that way you're like, what does that? Where did that come from? So I always enjoyed Mohsin Khan because he seemed like a big burly guy who would do it. The LSG team last year I was just not a fan of. This year I was excited because Pant was in the mix. And I'm actually very, very surprised. I don't know if you guys are that he's not opening because I thought that was A, better for the team, and B, wasn't that the only way he can stake a claim for the Indian side?
Absolutely.
Exactly. Which is why everyone's surprised.
So, I mean, I don't know how that story will move forward because, bro, think about the Indian T20 team where the World Cup is happening next year. Right now, I'm pretty sure Saurabh can name like his top 5 and Pant won't be in it. I'm pretty sure you'll go Abhishek, you'll go Jaiswal, you'll even probably have space for Rinku, Parag, who knows. But Pant, I think we're saving him just for tests. I mean, is that just me or pretty much all of y'all in this panel?
Yeah,
fair to say.
maybe ODIs. Maybe ODIs if they change the, like, especially if you're not in Asia, then I mean then that whole combination of playing the number of spinners we did completely changes, and then they want a left-hander in, so then Rishabh Pant might just come in place of KL.
And it's funny because honestly, this is the most expensive IPL cricket on the planet, right? 27 crores and all of that stuff. So I don't know whether he kind of gets reborn as Pant 2.0. We'll only, of course, wait and see how he's going to go about his things. Right now, he's done himself no good. 3 balls for no runs, but still early days. And what about Kevin Peterson just being there, part of the Delhi Capitals dugout? I've got to ask you all this. Does mentorship play any significance in the IPL? We saw it with GG last year, but do you remember any other mentors really coming to the fore? Akshay, Nix, Saurabh?
Yeah, Virendra Sehwag in 2017. We know how much of an impact he had on Glenn Maxwell then. So clearly there is a role for mentors over there. But firstly, Gigi wasn't a mentor, यार. वो बस नाम के लिए था. He was the coach. He was the gunda of that team. वही सब संभाल रहा था वहाँ पे. With KP, I just think he's there for vibes, यार. बस दिल्ली आया, थोड़ा घूम गया, थोड़ा. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what's exactly the role. I've been wanting to know. I've asked so many people, कि है क्या? In fact, even during our unwinds, I've asked multiple guests, see what exactly is the role of a mentor. In fact, a member of the current Delhi setup, Vijay Bharadwaj, he's a part of the current coaching setup. He just went on to say, no, there's no role for a mentor in IPL. I don't know what a mentor does. And he's a part of the coaching setup as we speak. तो पता नहीं भाई, मतलब सबका अपना अपना होता है. कोई कुछ कर रहा होगा, कोई कुछ नहीं कर रहा होगा. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know what it is.
Oh.
Is it some kind of योजना जो हो रहा है कि क्या चल रहा है? But yeah, there's no clarity on it.
Okay, let's see what happens right now. Pant is gone for a dart.
Pant is
He's
out.
gone for a 6-ball dart. Breaking news. We've got Pant, Sorabh Pant, and we've got Rishabh Pant having an absolute nightmare in Vizag. I mean, honestly, I feel bad. Pant, what's your reaction on Pant?
I mean, listen, man. I still don't understand why he's not opening. This is weird. It's also like you know, as a comedian in the IPL, it's like you make 6 jokes back to back at a live show, and all of them tank, and then they just like get out of the venue. This is what it's like. It's a weird place. I don't understand why they're batting him at number 4. It makes no sense to me, dude. It's like, and also as far as KP the mentor thing goes, I generally I've never understood the job of a mentor except to create trouble, like you said. Like, I don't need fans like you. I mean, that's got to be one of the shadiest things anybody said to anybody. Like what Sehwag told Maxwell. But and also Kevin Peterson, dude, it typically has not always been. I mean, one of the greatest, most exciting batters to watch in that generation that he was playing. Hasn't always been renowned for team building exercises.
We all know the kind of exercises he indulged in with his team. So yeah.
And it's a different sort of like flavor there in Delhi this season because no Ponting. They've got Hemang Badani in, but then KP is there. They've got some astute scouts. So let's see how they go about it. Right now, it's going to be runs and more runs from an LHE perspective.
Can I ask you guys a question, by the way? I wanted to know what you thought because I was quite, I mean, and as for a lot of people, outraged. I mean, Indian cricket fans don't need too much reason to be outraged. But what did you think about Parag being chosen over Jaiswal as the interim captain?
I would say generally, look, Parag, he has a little bit of a young Virat Kohli aura at times when he takes a catch and when he kind of celebrates, the little arrogance in the glint in his eye. He definitely seems like a guy who wants to just grab the bull by its horns and do everything that he can because he bowls a little bit and stuff. But I think yesterday, Karma bit him bad because he said in a podcast last year saying, that'll never happen to us when we play SRH. And look how...
Oh, shit, really?
It's insane.
Crazy, dude.
But look,
it's not been a good year for things said in a podcast anyway. So yeah.
Yes.
That's
for sure. No, but one of the youngest captains, sure, and hopefully he kind of gets 1 or 2 results to go his way before Sanju comes back. But answering your question, bro, I think Jaiswal should just be an opener and a fun-loving guy. Don't put too much on his plate kind of thing. That's how I see it. But Nix, Akshay, come in here. Nix, I'll start with you.
But to me, I wasn't honestly surprised. I felt Parag has been part of RR for enough number of time, and again, there are other dots that you can obviously connect. It just feels to me that it's a good story to go with as well. That you've backed someone for over a number of years. It hasn't come off. He's been a very clear vocal and focal point of the team that 5 batters, 5 bowlers, and Riyan Parag. That line is there to stay for long. So for him to then make that road, okay, I have a great season now at 4th, and it's just 3 games. They'll be playing at the home venue in Guwahati first. I think it just kinds of connected the dots well for them that let's go with Riyan, and maybe that's the future plan because as Avnish said, to me, I just want Jaiswal to be carefree and just score runs. To me, I would not want to burden Jaiswal with anything because we've seen the toll it takes on young Indian batters. They all look at it very differently. Okay, oh, now I need to score 500, now I need to 600, but it's not that. We want you to create impact on the match. So in that sense, I think it's a fair short-term goal. And let's see how this goes. I think it's just the first game was very off for them.
Bro, I just think RR is giving such school teacher cool children vibes, which is good because you have Dravid, the headmaster, there. And then we can't wait to see the 13-year-old Weber kid play. And then there's Quetta Mafaka, if you want to really make the age barrier come down as well. There's so many youngsters. It's unreal. So Jaiswal's just one of them. As I say that, some crazy shots in that LHGDC game. Go check out the highlights. We'll talk about that. But enough of that. I want to get the boys' thoughts on the CSK MI game, the El-Clasico that apparently people are calling eventually or inevitably. Is it the greatest rivalry, Sorabh Pant, Mumbai CSK, or do you see it differently in IPL?
Yeah, I mean, it would be. I mean, especially with fan bases, maybe RCB thrown in there. They should just have a three-way, play on two separate pitches and just have a showdown. Like, figure out a way to do that. But also, I mean, yesterday, dude, I happened to see the second innings of CSK at least. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I was at this very un-CSK, like trying to smash it out. Yeah, like, when India played against Bangladesh in the World Cup, and Bangladesh was like, whatever, 24 for 4, and then they were still trying to hit out. I'm like, do you realize how many overs are there in ODI? Has somebody miscommunicated to you that it's actually 23 overs? And I felt the same way with CSK. I'm like, you have very little runs to score. Why are you guys like losing your mind so much? And again, the left arm spinner, what's his name?
Vignesh Puttur.
Vignesh Puttur.
Yeah, I mean, he was bowling quite nicely. It was very interesting to watch. And then, of course, that moment of Dhoni going to him and giving him a word and all that stuff, and everybody's like, "My God, this would matter so much to him for the." And I'm like, you know what? Technically, if Dhoni came up to any of us and said, "Good job for whatever," you'd be like, "Dude, I'm one of the greatest human beings in the world." And I feel really weird watching Dhoni because Dhoni is literally 1 month older than me.
I was about to ask you that actually.
And I'm like, dude, this is embarrassing for me.
So this is almost like the Piyush Chawla Kohli bit, where people didn't believe last year that Piyush is actually younger than Kohli.
You know, there's a video doing the rounds right on that as well. Apparently, on Cricket.info, there was they were taking in viewer comments, and someone asked, and they even showed the comment, Piyush Chawla, are you really of the same age as Virat Kohli? Was Piyush Chawla, Varun Aaron, and Ambati Raidu there? And we all don't know how to answer this. भाई सेम मतलब तब अगर 15 साल पहले सेम उम्र का था तो अभी भी सेम उम्र का ही होगा and stuff like that. But yeah, it is funny.
It's very funny that he said that because I did an event for Mumbai Indians for DHL last year and Piyush Chawla was on the panel. He was honestly really a lot of fun. And I asked him the same question. He gave the same answer there also. So I was like, I think cricket also get programmed. They're like, hey, this is my response when they ask the stupid questions. So yeah.
Oh my God. CSK MI pulled out a few moments last night. Next, I'll get your game thoughts. But Deepak Chahar had some fun last night, teasing the CSK fans, teasing Tala, teasing everyone who walked out there and contributed to the bat. Apparently, he had one of the highest score for the tailenders in Mumbai Indians history, which is insane. And if it wasn't for him and his partner in crime, Santner, who also played for CSK for 12,000 years, it was insane, Nick. So how do you look at that particular game and all these small little narratives to come away from it?
Yeah, firstly, rivalries are only when you won something. So you can't just have a rivalry between two unmatched teams that way. So that is out of the way there. Baki, on the game, I think it was a good game for Khalil as well. I think he's really, I wanted that to be the tone for Chennai, that Chennai have missed new ball wickets since a while. And when they could not get Deepak, you wondered, why, who will bowl with the new ball? Because I knew Ash would come in, but invariably you need, as Sorabh earlier said, left-arm pacers in India. Whoever they are, jitne bhi bache hain, preserve them because you need them going into the long run. So I think Khalil was very good. And the only thing that struck to me was how well Mumbai still recovered despite that very early loss of wickets. And you felt that is the perks of how you want to bat. You don't know what's the par score today. Both teams are expecting the pitch to be a good one. So everybody's continuing to play shots. But then eventually it was about Deepak only. It came down to Deepak's contributions at the back end that gave Mumbai the platform. If something outwardly happens, we still are in with a chance. So I think it is just one of those games. I don't think Chennai will want surfaces like this because you can take wickets, but you'll have to bat also. So that is something that I'm still pondering how will it go. It was very interesting that they went ahead with Rachin, which I think was a very good move because I did not expect them to start with Rachin. I expected them to go with Conway only. I think Patrana is injured, so maybe that's why they're just saving him. And Ellis started, so plenty of boxes still to be honest on CSK lines that Rahul Tripathi opens. It means Gaikwad is at 3. I think they did a lot of basics right. And again, toss invariably does play a massive role. That it helped RCB as well. That you are bowling when there is something in the pitch. Your job is to take the top 2-3 out very, very early. So I think it was a game well set up. And when Gaikwad did the job, to me, Noor was well, but Gaikwad played an even better hand because it was his score that allowed Chennai to afford losing those wickets. Because had they then needed 80 of 60 with the ball slowing down and Dew not coming in, it could have gone anywhere. So I think it was a good game to get out of the way early because without Bumrah, without Hardik, if Mumbai are able to push you so deep, you'll have something to work on.
No, fair points. And I think Gaikwad's a real takeaway from my perspective last night. I spoke to some of the Chennai fans. I was on ground doing Fancams outside Chepauk, and we'll come to the fun bits. But look, they found a diamond in the rough, pardon the pun, in Noor Ahmed. Brilliant. They have, of course, who else who really shone bright last night? I actually thought some of them, like Nick said, got the boxes ticked, but the captain was the biggest for me because for the longest time since Kohli's retirement in T20 internationals, I think Gaikwad's perfectly placed to take that one-down position. There's no one better. He's a run accumulator. You look at some of his last couple of knocks in Chennai, it's just ridiculous. He averages, I think, over 60, 70 there. What are your thoughts generally, guys, about Ruturaj Gaikwad? Not just for Chennai, because he lost the orange cap to Kohli last season, but he's on the rise. He's a stock, definitely has potential. So, Saurabh, I'll come to you. Gaikwad, talk to me.
Dude, I think they're two. Like I think Gaikwad is fantastic, but Abhishek Sharma, Jaiswal, and even Samson right now are easier stakes to the crown right now at the moment. The top three, I would say. And also, the game has reached a point where it's like every year, I think the strike rates need to improve by 5. And it's reached a point where it's like, and you notice with even like players who've been playing the IPL for like years and years, like you see Rohit Sharma and Kohli's average strike rates and you're like 132. Who selected these guys? Do they even know how to play cricket? And then you realize, okay, the last couple of years it's been 150. It's been going up. So Gaikwad, I think in ODIs and Tests, maybe I would say yes, but T20s, I think the game, especially the kind of way Abhishek Sharma is playing specifically, dude. I mean, he's changed the game a lot for especially what can be done in the top three for India. But I think the only thing I'll disagree with Nikhil is that I enjoyed yesterday's CSK match a little bit because at least there was something in it. You know what I'm saying? There was like some movement in the pitch, something to like play around with. Like 286 chased by
100%.
5,800. It's ridiculous. I generally I was glad I missed the match to an extent, even though I really like SRH. So yeah.
Okay. Akshay, on the Chennai pitch, because the last 2 seasons we've seen it be un-Chennai-esque, if that's a thing. But 156 yesterday, are we going to expect 156, 160s? Because truth be told, both of us are that kind of cricket fan where we don't want to see every game in the IPL just be 250 meets 260 or 200 be 210. 150, 160, it's good nip and tuck.
Yeah, 150 and 150, 160 sure is great. And I don't think yesterday's surface was as bad as the my batters made it out to be. I really think they lacked a bit of application there. The surface was a lot better. There was a bit in it for the paces as well. You saw with the kind of bounce, even sound like a Khalil Ahmed was generating, who's not exactly known for that. And the way he bowled, in fact, like that's another big box tick by CSK there. Khalil Ahmed being in form, I think that's a bigger positive for them than even Ruturaj Gaikwad, because you expect Ruturaj Gaikwad to come good, and if not, you have other options. But when it comes to domestic pacers, they are fairly short on those reserves. Anshul Kamboj ke alawa, they don't have too many other names. So that's why it was imperative that someone like a Khalil Ahmed comes good, and he did come good for them. And secondly, the surface, I think, was decent enough. Even CSK, I felt, towards the latter half, they were being ultra defensive unnecessarily. I thought they could have been a lot more quicker with the chase. For no reason, like especially the way Rachin was playing Naman Dheer and all of them. I was like, bhai, itna kyun dar ke khel raha? Aaram se khelna, surface mein kuch nahi hai. And you saw that eventually when he tonged Vignesh Puttur for a couple of sixes, you knew, ye to pehle bhi kar sakta tha, bhai. Same ही line डाल रहा था, same ही line डाल रहा था. You didn't have to worry about it. It felt ki maybe that sudden loss of wickets pegged them back, and they thought, okay, probably the surface is a bit scratchy, but I don't think that's the case. I still think this is a fairly decent surface. Nothing like, the minefield that we had in 2019, when that tournament opener happened in RCB, were bundled out for 70. So still better than that. I'm expecting a 170, 180 kind of surface over here. Again, hopefully if that happens, then we will be in for a cracker of a game that day as well.
Yeah, sorry, that clip just came out of nowhere. We'll come to some of the CSK fans I met, and I definitely think Nick's is not like that, and I'm not putting every CSK fan in that same bracket, but I was astonished. I know how much they love MS Dhoni in Chennai, and why not? Because look, even if I was a Chennai fan, I would love him to bits. But some of the stuff said by a couple of fans that day, we had to play it out, and I'll get all your reactions to this clip. So if we can all just move slightly to our left, I'll play this clip and we can have a reaction.
One more definitely not, or we more 2 or 3 more times of definitely not.
What if RCB win the tournament 5 times in a row, but Dhoni is still playing? Would you take it?
Yeah, sure. We'll do anything for Dhoni.
Where is fan loyalty? Where is commitment?
So we want Dhoni to stay forever, because like today morning Dhoni has given a statement like even if he's in a wheelchair he'll be dragged to play, because that's the type of franchise we have.
Would you play him in a wheelchair?
Yeah, obviously he'll create a rule for him. Maybe like this year BCCI made a rule for him, maybe knowing because of Dhoni CSK franchise running, because of CSK IPL is running.
Okay.
Like no, I'm not telling like other teams are so down, but we are telling this CSK owns the IPL. But I'm very happy if RCB lifts the cup this time, because they deserve it. Kohli deserves it actually.
Well done. Math is mathing in Chennai with these fans. Well done. Subscribe.
Thank you so much.
I mean, shocking. Absolutely
crazy.
shocking.
But also imagine like the context of this. Imagine if this was said by an Indian fan about world cricket. Like there would be bawal all over. Michael Atherton would get a heart attack and collapse in the midst of his podcast. It would be absolute pandemonium, dude. But it's not unlikely. And also, I don't think Dhoni at the age of 42, 48 would require a wheelchair. Let's be perfectly honest. And I think it would give him a chance. I've seen some of the modern technology wheelchairs. I've spoken to a few people who are differently abled, and they're like, dude, some of them now come with gears apparently. And I think CSK has good infrastructural support for that. So imagine Dhoni being faster at the age of 74. He's just whizzing through the wheelchairs, running over people as he runs between the wickets. I'm like, Thala is still so fast. So yeah, it's a crazy thing, dude.
The only thing that he'll have to work on, the only thing he'll have to work on, Akshay, is probably only squats, because honest to God, that stumping last night of Sky, right? There is no one quicker in the IPL, even if you add 5 more years in that, because that's muscle memory. It's a recoil reaction, which you spoke about multiple times. I was telling someone yesterday who was watching the game with in Chennai, and I was just like, there's no other keeper in the world who can do this. And fine, he's retired from the game. Now it's been 6 years, 7 years. I think only Gilchrist came close to retiring from international cricket and then continuing IPL cricket, and he's not played any cricket apart from the IPL. So fair play to him. I don't know how CSK fans reacted. I know how they reacted, but I don't know how all the CSK fans reacted about Rachin Ravindra hitting that winning shot, because even Dhoni walked up to him saying, you could have given me strike there. Nix, would you have liked the single? Let's be honest.
No, man. I think you have to firstly be very acknowledgeable that you're never going to have a certain set of fans. And I don't think you can ever have come to a stage where you can go on and say fans should be like this. It is not going to happen. Even if you're playing a team sport, eventually it is driven by 11 individuals and what they bring to the team, and they will have their own fan bases. And of course, after a point of time, if somebody's done something, they will have a larger base in that fan. And I would love to have a sneak peek of an IPL without MS and Rohit. Maybe Rohit would say, okay, possibly phased out. There is Hardik, there is Surya, there is Bumrah. But we don't know how RCB and CSK will function once there is no Virat and MS in those stands. It will be different. So I will not hold them hostage for their honest opinions, so to speak. Maybe they are a player-led fan who then looks up to the franchise in that order and not necessarily a team fan. Because even if you look at it from an India lens, I doubt you are going to find too many people who are going to put मैं पहले इंडिया को देखना है. They will always come on and tell you कि मैं इसके लिए देखना है, because eventually you have to understand, you start watching the game for a player. It's very, very rare, and maybe idiots like me who start watching because this game looks very fun. This team looks fun. So it's again I'll just clear myself in that way. Ke I have been called a CSK hater also and a fan on the same reactions, and they just tells you that people like me don't qualify because we are openly critical about as well. Ke bhai, this is wrong, this is right. But then the general perception is, if you are a fan, you are not supposed to criticize. You are just supposed to say all the good things, all the right things only, and that is okay. I am okay with that line of thought. But what I'll do is, I'll not have any expectations of them. Ke they are going to put team first. If a player goes, fine, be with it. We don't know how the franchise will survive. Fair enough. We'll see when it happens. So to me, that is where I am. Vaisa.
Okay, fine. I'll just come in here because I think sometimes, like when I look back at why I supported United as a kid as well, it wasn't just because of Beckham scores, gigs, and players like that which caught my eye, but also the time that they were winning, doing well. So a lot of people jumped onto the MI bandwagon from 2013 and then, of course, stuck with them. Similar with CSK. On the flip side, a lot of people have been Bangalore fans, maybe geographically. So that stems out of a lot of people as well. If I was born in Kolkata, I would be supporting KKR naturally. I'm a BFC fan in the ISL. I support the Bengaluru Bulls in the Pro Kabaddi League, so on and so forth. My only resentment with that fan over there is being player FC, like what Nick said. Have your allegiances. Be a Virat fan, be a Rohit fan, be a Dhoni fan, but put your teams first. I don't know, or whether that stems from the society, Saurabh and Akshay, the fact that we've always been a star appreciating nation and a sport, I mean, not so much of sport appreciating nation. I mean, how did you guys take to teams? For example, whoever you support in your life right now, is it more player driven or is it because of team ethos, philosophy? Saurabh, I'll start with you and then Akshay can finish up.
I mean, dude, with the Dhoni, I mean, I would have loved to see Pandya there because Pandya is capable of telling Dhoni to not take the single. He's like, hold, let me finish this off, which would have honestly caused a riot in a lot of towns in India. But I think I'm all for Rachin hitting that 6-1 because also every single goddamn year in every IPL and every tournament across the world, everybody bloody remembers net run rate only in the last two matches. And even a six earlier than like one ball will sometimes, you never know when it's going to make a difference. So I'm all for finishing it off as quickly as possible. And also he had two balls, dude. He could have done it in two balls. I mean, that's enough balls for him to try and do it. He didn't do it. It's fine. But again, do that stumping. I'm trying to think of, while you were talking, I was trying to think of which, because the catching in as a wicket keeper is a completely different beast to a pacer or whatever else it is. The stumping is such a very typical, it's almost a very subcontinental thing because subcontinental cricketers have grown up to sort of keeping up. I'm trying to like rack my head to try and figure out which other keeper in world cricket would do it as fast as this 43-year-old dude. And I'm always wary about chatting Kohli and Dhoni because I find it very like the easiest hack in cricket right now, where you're like, "Kya must khela," and we're like, "Yes, agree, we love." But that was exceptional. That stumping was genuinely very cool. I can't think of anybody else who would have pulled it off.
Akshay, you have one for Saurabh, no?
I do have one. I'll get that. But just one point to add to this about players itself. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with, fans or folks in general loving a certain player, teams. I'm a hardcore RCB fan. My concern is with the fact that now people are sort of associating that to be the singular identity. They look at each other as a Kohli fan, as a Rohit fan, Rohit fan, Dhoni fan. That is the problem. Like, there is more to me than being an RCB fan. There's more to, I don't know, Nikhil bhai, than me being a CSK fan, for instance. But that's not the case online. Online, it's either you're a Kohli fan or a Dhoni fan or a this fan or a that fan. That is where the issue stems from. Of course, we all know about our, liking to put someone on a pedestal and throw them off of it very quickly. But this, I think, is a bigger concern because everywhere I go, that happens. It's almost assumed, अच्छा RCB support करता है, अच्छा तो ये कोहली का fan होगा, अच्छा तो इसको धोनी पसंद नहीं है. It's just assumed. Everything is drawn. All these conclusions are drawn just by one simple thing, and which even might not be true. The basis itself might not be true, but that is where we are at, and I guess it will take time. Even football as a sport, despite having existed for over 100 years, we see such rabid fan fights and everything happening there. So, ये तो सिर्फ 15 साल हुआ.
And it stems out of that because of social media as well. Oh, you're either Ronaldo or you're Messi. You can't be both. And if you're both, you don't know what you're saying. And similar with anything I say about Kohli or RCB, people will be like, oh, you're biased. I know some of my calls on the watch-alongs have been biased, but generally, I look at myself as an Indian fan first and an RCB fan later. Akshay is vice versa. So there's no real right and wrong here. I would just say, look, support the game, love the game, and love the players. They'll come and go, but the teams will always stay forever. So that's how I look at it. It's getting rather too serious here, but Akshay has a couple of fun ones for Saurabh before we go on.
Yeah, I'll just wrap this up for Sorabh before he bounces with one simple question. Very easy. What I want to know is, I'll give you 5 standard comedians, or rather 5 comedians. I want to know which cricketer do they remind you of. As simple as that. All right? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Let me just make sure I have the list of names ready over here. I had them. Yeah, there we go. First up, Zakir Khan.
Zakir Khan. Oh my God, it's a real tough one, man. I mean, I've seen Zakir play cricket. He bowls left-handed, bats left-handed. Um, but I mean, it's not great. I
I
love
have a
Zakir as a
question.
person and as a comedian. And then Zakir himself will be like, "Hey, you come to the fielder because he's a competitive guy." But I would say let's just say I'll compliment Zakir and say let's say mid start, dude. Go for it. Left-handed and left-handed. Let's go for it. Yeah.
All right, okay. Next up, Anubhav Singh Bhassi.
Anubhav Singh Bassi. I've seen him play, bowls decent medium pace and bats not badly. And he bats with those glasses and shit like that, which is a very West Indian thing. So I'm going to say the only cricketer I've recently seen wearing sunglasses to bat, and I'm going to say Bassi is Craig Brathwaite. That's
Oh,
a
wow,
deep cut
great
there, guys.
Bradley. Wow. Wow, what a name. Okay,
Yeah.
next up, Tanmay Bhatt.
Oh, Tanmay Bhatt. I've never seen him play cricket. Let's see.
You're
Tanmay
on
Bhatt
your
would be
own
who?
there.
Listen, man, you're putting me in a spot because now I'm thinking, like how you guys said bald guy.
I have a few options for you there as well, but okay.
Yeah. I've never seen Tanmay play, but I think Tanmay would be more of the guy who's the team mentor. He would be a successful Kevin Peterson.
Ooh,
Like,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
I think he would be the guy who would be like, hey, this is what you should do. Like, yeah, what he did with the AIB or something like that. So, yeah.
All right. Fourth name, slightly controversial, Samay Raina.
Samay Raina, oh my god, Sam Constance, dude, just provocative, just getting people like,
Unleashed.
Love that. I love that.
and
Actually,
suddenly overnight people are like, who's this guy? So I'm gonna say Samay Raina and Sam Constance. I think that's a fun one, yeah.
okay, that's a fun one for sure. Last but not the least, of course, Sorabh Pant.
Oh me, oh my god, I don't know, somebody who didn't make it. In both comedy and in cricket. Okay, I'm going to say Rajat Bhatia. he's
So
good.
very
He's
good one.
decent.
Very good.
He's a good
Very
he's
good.
contributor. He used to control one end and not a bad dude. He used to bowl medium pace, bat decently. Used to make sure people don't get into fights. So yeah, I'm going to say somebody like that. Rajat Bhatia, not Nathan Hassel, Scott Styris kind of person. Like I'm all right. I'm not great, but I'm okay. I mean, yeah.
Interesting. Rajat Bhatia and Scott Styris. Nicely done there.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the list of names I had.
Hey,
I mean,
it's interesting. I like this.
Yeah, fun segments.
Sorry?
Just before you pop off, Saurabh, a shout out to Sorabh Pant and his YouTube channels. He has two now, but the one that I like is a Pant and Fire. Go check it out. He's done a really, really fun preview, and the IPL is still early, guys. So go get all their views. He had some good guests as well. What is your plan for the rest of the IPL, my friend? And also, what's up with the comedy scene going on right now in Mumbai?
Oh, okay. So I'll take the first question, the second question first. The comedy scene in Mumbai, everybody's incredibly sad. A lot of my friends have been attacked verbally and other ways, and it's a very depressing scene. And I had actually agreed to do this 4 days back, and then today I was like, let's back out. But I'm like, no, I think talking about cricket is probably a good break. So I mean, this is a complete side note to anybody out there. If you're a stand-up comedy fan in India, just go see any comedy that you can because you just never know when somebody will decide to shut it down. And a big shout out to everybody at the Habitat. It's a club run by Balraj, and it's a labor of love for a lot of those people working out there. So, I mean, I hate to be serious about this, but it's honestly been a pretty testing time in 1.5 months because in the last 1.5 months, 3 people associated with Indian comedy have been attacked. So it's not a good time. It's a scary, shitty time. So just go out there, support, and give love to any comedians and everybody out there. And yeah, it's hopefully we'll come out of this stronger, guys. Yeah. While I
Fingers
secretly
crossed.
cry inside. Uh, so we all had a moment yesterday, by the way. Anyway, so for the IPL, what the plan is that I have a channel called Wake Up Pant, which is all about cricket and podcasts, and it's just mostly comedians coming and talking absolute nonsense. Like you guys have a lot of insightful stuff. We just talk rubbish, and occasionally, by the way, this is all true. Most of the stats that I quote is from you. Where I'm like cricket.com said, and here you go. So, which I think I shared with both of you as well. So it's going to be out. I think once a week we're going to do podcasts. I'm also going to do a few solos and hopefully maybe pop out with some StreamYard stuff as well. So check that out. It's a lot of fun. And also, by the way, prior to that, I went to GT20 in 2022, was it? And interviewed Wasim Akram, Shoaib Akhtar, a lot of fun podcasts with cricketers, etc. out there as well. So yeah.
Yeah, the one that I liked is when you went to check out the Hong Kong cricket sixes and you did some cool
Oh,
content
thanks,
there.
man.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And Hong Kong should be back again this year. Hong Kong Cricket Sixes was like I tried to do vlogs and we spoke to a few Pakistani fans where India and Pakistan were playing, and India got very badly thrashed. Like, it's not a good time. And Hong Kong is one of those places where you can drink during the match. So Indians were wasted, and it's a 5-over match. By the 9th over, Indians are like, "Daro ke liye aaye hai." It's like, great. We've got our priorities in order. So Hong Kong Cricket 6 is a lot of fun. Hopefully, it should happen this year as well. So yeah, thanks a lot. I really appreciate that.
No worries, man. Look, we'll have you in many more episodes going forward. Probably if you get your predictions right, also, especially with that 296 of SRH, that excites me the most. But Pant, you've been phenomenal on a day that Pant has not been so phenomenal. Let's put it that way. But thank you so much for your time, and we'll leave it there with him.
Hey, his captaincy is still left. Anyway, but thanks a lot for having me. Really appreciate it. Best of luck, friends. I will take your leave. Goodbye, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye.
Well done. Well
See
done.
you.
What a beautiful man. Honestly, props to him. We've left the link of his channel in the description below. And I'm not Akshay Kumarswamy. I will change that. And I have changed that. Right. So good addition to Monday Night Live. Props to Akshay for pulling out not one, but two rabbit out of the hats in terms of Bobby and Sorabh. They're not rabbits by any stretch of the imagination, but that was just a word. There were lots of comments going on. Sorry, good to great. Sorry, Vasant. Sorry, Asim Hans. Apologies. Sometimes you get distracted when the guest comes on. I know there were a couple towards me, and look, I'll take everything with a pinch of salt. It's the IPL. We can banter each other as much as we want. And LSG, after a ridiculously good start, have fallen off a cliff. 188 for 18 overs gone is a quick update. I know you might be listening to this podcast on Spotify later on in the week, but just extra information if you just want to know. Questions coming Akshay and Nix's way as well. We'll save some of those for the 12th man section. But what else do we have to talk about in regards to the IPL? Just a quick prelude to the games this week, because I want to, of course, get Nix's thoughts, especially in CSK RCB, because Akshay will be doing the watch along in Chepauk. But we can just preview that game right now for us, because we'll talk about even GT Punjab tomorrow and get our predictions out of the way after this one. But CSK versus RCB, guys, okay? I'm not going to be biased. I'm just going to be an anchor in this one. So Nix is representing CSK. Akshay is representing RCB. Both have won games, and Chepauk is the hardest place for RCB to go on planet Earth, Akshay. So can they do what they did in 2008, or will it just be another stroll in the Chepauk for CSK?
I mean, it does seem to be pointing at that Chennai start favourites, and they'll also end up winning the game quite comfortably given RCB's lack of options in the spin department. I know I said earlier that the surface seems good enough. Like, I still stand by it, but I do believe that spinners would play a bigger role than pacers. So given how both innings yesterday saw spinners bowling 10 to 11 overs at the very least, I don't know where can RCB chalk out 10, 11, 12 overs of spin. That would be their concern. And also the 8, 9, 10 overs of spin that they have aren't the kind of options who would turn the ball square. Krunal Pandya is not exactly known, to generate prodigious amounts of spin and all of that. He's a defensive option who can contain. He bowls with containing lines and lengths. And at this point in time, arguably Livingston seems to be our best option, which is saying something. So
What about playing spin?
Sorry?
What about playing spin? Because they have Noor, Jadeja, Ashwin, all brilliant in their own right. Who's going to be the tackler? Is it going to be the obvious Rajat Patidar?
So coming to that, I don't think we are too hamstrung by that. I think we have a decent batting lineup against spin. At the top, at least, like Salt can handle himself. Average is about 40 against left-arm spinners, which is more than decent. You have Kohli, who has a very high average. It's a strike rate that comes down. But last year, we saw him changing that as well, deploying those slog sweeps, conventional sweeps to great effect. So if he can do something like that, nothing like it, then you've, of course, got Rajat Patidar. Jitesh Sharma himself is no mug against spin. Devdutt Padikkal, this is a name I'm really looking forward to because of what DK had to say post-match. I don't know if you guys caught that clip of DK talking about Padikkal, where he was like, he's the guy who's been doing a lot of hard work before the tournament, and he's someone who you can expect a lot of big things from this season. So I don't know. I'm hoping that, whatever DK said manifests itself at Chepauk. But I don't think our batting is going to be too hamstrung. I still think we can post a score that's about par. If not above, but it's the bowling where we might struggle. Like you would either rely on your pacers like Yashraal and Rasikdar to get their back of the hand slow ones and their cutters to grip into the surface, or else it's going to be very tricky.
Okay, next, let me ask you the question here, because CSK is so dominant in this fixture, especially at home. Will it just be, again, a comfortable win for CSK, or do you think at least it'll be nip and tuck? RCB are better prepared this time, even though Akshay pointed out the fact that we don't have prodigious spinners of the ball. How do you kind of envisage it 2 days before to this game?
I think it should be an interesting contest, especially if RCB bowled first. I think that will really allow their potential weaker suit to be in a stage where they know what they are chasing, so they can plan their innings far better as compared to while batting first, because half of the time you don't quite know what the past score is. And even at Chepauk, surfaces have been different from time to time, because if RCB are batting first, I am particularly interested to start with Ravindra Jadeja almost immediately from the other end with Khalid. I have no problems if Chennai go that way, because that's what's worked for them against RCB in the past as well. Jadeja's had some very good performances there. You think of the Pune game, even again everywhere that they faced off. And the fact that there's just one lefty there, it means Jadeja gets to bowl a lot more than he would usually. So I think that is how it is shaping up. I think Salt will play a massive role. With Virat, you know what you get. So you will be worried if you're a Chennai fan that yes, if Virat gets going, and he has a very good record against Chennai as well. So he will come good. It's about Chennai will look at it as we need to get Salt early. And how do you do that? That's where I'm looking forward to options. You have Khalil, you have Jadeja who can come up, and otherwise, as Akshay rightly covered, the middle overs are where Chennai have done exceedingly well over the period of time as well. So I think that's where the bowling will set the game up. With the batting, completely agree with Akshay that you can't think of a name and be very scared. Oh, how do you play this? Like, say, if RCB are thinking of Noor, you'd be like, how do we counter Noor? You have to sit and plan. Of course, for Kunal and Liam as well, you have to plan. For Suresh as well, you'll have to plan. But maybe there are signs from the Mumbai game that RCB can take that. Try and lure this lower middle order into playing shots. What if they do? What if they don't come off? And then suddenly you find Chennai in a pickle. So I think as a Chennai fan, you'll be quietly confident that Spain is something that works for you. You are harder to beat at home. Should be good. But it's also a motivation for Bangalore that if they can beat Chennai here, that is a massive shot in the arm, because it will really squash away a lot of doubts on the team in terms of playing spin, bowling spin. So it won't be easy, but again, that's why you have certain venues where it is hard to beat them at home.
Interesting. Let's see how it plays out. We'll take a couple of comments before I put the boys on the spot in this one. Asim Khan saying, can RCB crack the cheat code in Chepauk? Cricket.com randomly asking, do you think they should have a separate away crowd section in the stadium? I'd like to see if that is with regards to the CSK RCB game, but it won't be, because there'll be equal amounts of red and yellow, maybe more yellow than red because it's happening in Chepauk. Good to create. I'll take a couple of your questions. Yeah, I mean, I understand they're coming from sense that you have to put the viewers first, and I am putting the viewers first, but if I have to make conversation with Nikhil and Akshay and guess I have to do that, I can't always pander to comments. It's impossible. You try hosting a show instead of just giving me advice in the chat. Cricket for saying, don't worry, bro. Suddenly Liam Livingston will turn like Shane Warne. And guys, there are 3 more matches before this Friday clash. I know, which we're going to talk about the others as well. Before we do, let's finish off with the CSK RCB big match preview and MNL with predictions. Who's winning, by how much, and man of the match. I'll put Akshay first, and then Nikhil, and then myself, and then we can clip it out for banter later.
उसने अक्षय फर्स्ट बोला.
अबे अक्षय फर्स्ट बोला क्या? I lost that part. I was waiting for Nikhil bhai to say.
I thought you were channelizing in a model pose, like, you know, that Pat Cummins Oakley. Na 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 na.
कुछ नहीं है भाई. I'm thinking CSK will. I'll go proper पूरा match prediction बता दूँ. CSK will win the toss, choose to bowl first. RCB will bat. खलील अहमद कोहली को पहले ओवर में निकाल लेगा. सॉल्ट थोड़ा मारेगा, फिर पावर प्ले के एंड तक आउट हो जाएगा. Padikkal, Patidar will then stitch together a partnership and then वो भी out हो जाएंगे. फिर वैसा कुछ होएगा. 150 similar to Mumbai score we will make. And bowling में हम लोग थोड़ा we will struggle because of the lack of a Vignesh Puttur or a Mitchell Santner. That's where quality spin options who can slow it down and all of it. That's where we'll struggle. So I'm guessing Chennai will chase it down with a couple of overs, probably 3 overs to spare. Optimistically 18 overs so that net run rate पे ज़्यादा फर्क ना पड़े, ज़्यादा असर ना हो. But yeah, this is how I'm looking at this.
Okay, and man of the match?
Man of the match, let's see who was. I'll say Rutraj Gaikwad.
Okay, so Gaikwad. Okay, super. And just so you know, if your story doesn't come to fruition, you'd rather see RCB chase pretty much, I'm guessing.
Of course, भाई ये आप सवाल क्यों पूछा आपने? ये rhetorical भी नहीं. This is there will never ever be a question that could possibly force me to say हाँ RCB हार जाए तो भी चलेगा, but मेरे को ये चाहिए. There's nothing in the world of cricket.
अरे हार जाए नहीं पूछ रहा है. He's just telling you कि तू you want them to chase or bat first. किधर
Exactly.
Win the toss, of course, that's a given, right? Yeah, win the toss, chase. I agree with Nikhil bhai, because you don't know how the surface might play. You're better off batting in the second innings by when you would have assessed how the surface is and you can accordingly recalibrate and bat well.
Okay, Nix, what's your thoughts? And do you see it the way Akshay sees it or slightly differently?
No, I think it should pretty much. Again, we don't know who bats first. So if Chennai are bowling first, that's how Chennai fans would hope it pans out. I don't think they'll be okay if they again go from conceding 150 after having them 112 all for 7 or 8 down. So that is also something that I'm looking forward to. So I would assume, honestly, Chennai should win this one. Margin, I'm not too fussed about it. I know net run rate and all of that matters, but as long as they win games at home, to me, that is the paramount thing to be done. फिर वो 18 ओवर में चेस कर लो चलेगा या तुम अगर डिफेंड कर रहे हो तो that is where I think it's going to be really really interesting, because if Chennai have to defend at home, they can do it, and it usually works out that way. If it is slowing down, then you can win by a big margin also, but you never know. Man of the match for me is the same name that I said earlier. Would be fun if it's Jadeja.
Okay, Jadeja against RCB. The way I see it, I think it'll be wishful thinking if I say RCB are going to win on Friday night, because how often do RCB fans turn up at Chepauk having any optimism? I know they played them even in Ranchi and same results. It doesn't matter. So I think CSK would probably win this. And my head, as much as it tells me disagree, it can't, because I think, like Akshay mentioned, Noor, Jadeja and Ashwin, even though they can be negated by Patidar on the day, it's the other batters, how they chip in, the toss being the factor. So I think, all in all, CSK might just get a win under their belt with 8 balls remaining. How about that? That's my timid little take on that. Dubey man of the match saying Santosh Udupa, who also turns out to be an RCB fan. Good to great seeing Abdish bro. As an honest fan, I can't thank you enough for putting my query Mbangwa on his appearance here. In fact, I shared the screenshot to the whole my friends recommend. Thank you, mate. And I'm sorry for going off earlier on, because I tried to accommodate all comments, but sometimes I just can't do it as much as I can. Vasantarayan saying, I want Rapa to do well and Rachin. I don't support CSK, so RCB to win isn't a bad one for me, but I don't think they have the resources in Chepauk. Optimism runs in Akshay's blood, I guess. Opposite of that, Sachin, because if you meet him in the watch-alongs, even when RCB had 2 to win of 23 balls, he was like, Abe, 10% hai, KKR way, 10%. I'm just like, bro, how are you saying that? How are you saying that? Anyway, don't want to get into that. Tomorrow's game is going to be a belter, but before we go into tomorrow's game, there's been some sort of resurrection by Miller to get LSG to 209 for, what is it? 8. Apparently. And let's see how Delhi go about their chase. They have Faf to play C, they have Abhishek Porel, so it'll be absolutely a fascinating watch in Vizag. But tomorrow in the Sri Narendra Modi Stadium, there is, of course, the small matter of GT versus PBKS, which will complete the round 1 fixtures of IPL 2025. Who are we backing? It asks there, but it's almost like what our predictions will be, because all of us think GT's top 3 is just going to be run accumulators. We've spoken about it enough in our previews, in our watch-alongs, but right now, tomorrow is game day. So next, I'll start with you here. Just on paper, on the venue, who starts favourites in this? Is it Punjab because of the overwhelming changes, or do you think GT still, with the bowlers that they have, could be a handful?
You think paper pe to Punjab do a really strong start, far more balance and more boxes tick. uh, it just gives me a very weird sudden vibe that we'll have at least 2 to 3 games where Siraj does Siraj things. Uh, could be tomorrow. You never know. Especially while bowling second, if that is the case. So that is the one scenario where I would love to see how Prab and whoever opens with him, whether it is Priyansh or Josh, whoever plays, because the one thing that we haven't got right so far in this IPL is overseas batters and the opening slots. It's been weird for almost every game. Of course, SRS one was obvious, but you didn't know that Parag would bat at 3. You didn't know that Rachin would start. So I don't know if Josh will start. It just probably gives GT that much hope. Okay, if you get those new balls, GT is set up to do well in the power play. So if they do well in the power play, they'll be fine. But I just feel Punjab have the depth unless they self-improve, which I hope they do.
What is it with Mohammad Siraj giving me some sort of vibes, Akshay, that he could end up being the Purple Cap winner and then break all RCB hearts? But nevertheless, do you think Siraj will turn up with Rabada, with Rashid? You think Rutherford should start over Phillips in this one? And then we'll get to the Punjab boys. But will it be a home season to remember for the Gujarat Titans? I say that because Ahmedabad, the venue, is probably the biggest in the IPL. Do you think it'll be a boon or a bane for them with this attack, new setup, so on and so forth?
I mean, they've definitely done a good job of constructing a lineup, a bowling attack that would, do well at their home. So good job on that, that's for sure. Now the next part is ensuring that the surface also aids their pacers. It is just as important. Like Nikhil Bhai will be the first one to say, Abhi Chepok agar, if Chepok doesn't Chepok, then what is the point of having a side with 3 gun spinners? Similarly, if Ahmedabad doesn't Ahmedabad, I don't see any merit in having Siraj, Rabada, and the likes Kurtzia, Prasid and whatnot. तो ये सब जब नाम बोलते हैं it is good. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to see a nice little tinge of green, nip थोड़ा सा हो बस, ताकि hard links जो सिराज को पसंद है, tuck tuck seam movement हल्का सा इधर उधर, Rabada, Siraj both in tandem, if they are bowling it full tilt, it'll be great to watch. So fingers crossed, I'm expecting some of that. And it also aids their batting, the way Sudarshan is, the way Gill is, the way Butler is, something we spoke about, right? My bingo card suggested that GT's top 3 will collectively, accumulate over 2,000 runs, because those are the kind of banks we're talking about, that top 3 has. So if the surface is slightly tricky, I think that top 3 is someone who can handle, tricky surfaces. They can stay there, spend some time, play 40 balls, 50 balls, score 60 runs, 65 runs, and stay there. So I'm expecting all 3 of them to do well. I think that's arguably the best top 3 in the tournament. I really like that top 3 for IPL. That is Gill from IPL 2023. If he shows up, Sudarshan, Butler, that's pretty good, I think. But that's where I guess the praises end. Spinners zyada nahi hai. Washington Sundar, Mahipal Lomror, Shahrukh Khan, Rahul Tewatia, they're all good.
Sai Kishore, that's one name I was just going to come to, because I feel like this guy needs 14 games in one season. And I know they have really good understudies in terms of Sai Kishore, because you look at Manav Sutar, who's obviously a good, of course, young spinner on the rise. Nishant Sandhu's there as well. So people like him, do you think Sai Kishore will probably get the nod, Akshay, for 14 games? Because there's Rashid, and there'll be part-timers like Sundar, Phillips, and all of that stuff. But so Kishore offers a lot of control.
Sometimes I don't know what to make of Abdish is saying part-timers like Sundar. Kya bhai? He's a full-time bowler, part-time batter at best.
But you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't bowl his quota for often than not. You know what I mean?
I get it. And with Sai Kishore, he's definitely starting, for me at least. पूरा 14 गेम खेलेगा कि नहीं, surfaces पे depend करेगा, his own bowling form. Last year, couple of games he got, उसमें भी उसको 19th over, 20th over, ये सब overs देके मार खा रहा था तो निकाल दिया. So we just don't know how are they looking at him, what are they expecting off of him. So it's very hard. If they get his usage right, which I think should be at least a couple in the power play and 2 in the middle, nothing at the dead, that's where I think he can be very effective, or probably it can be a 1-3-0 combination as well. But last year we saw him primarily being used in the latter half of the middle overs, or sometimes even at the death. New ball के साथ तो बहुत ही कम देखने को मिला, unless there was a very obvious matchup like against RCB when Kohli against slow left armers, we know how he tends to not strike it all and be very subdued. That's where they brought in Kishore. Apart from that, he was hardly used in the power play. So if they continue to use him like that, then I don't know if they can extract the maximum out of him. So he's starting for sure. 14 game khelega ki nahi, it'll depend on a lot of different factors. But that middle order is very sus. Very, very, very sus. After the top three, and you remove the tail, बीच वाला जो हिस्सा ना, Shahrukh at 4, Lomroor / Sundar at 5, Rutherford / Phillips at 6, Tewatia at 7, Rashid at 8. It is like, I don't know, like on
I agree with you, but I just feel like because the platform is going to be set more often than not with those top three that you mentioned, they can just come and crash, bang, and wallop. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 can just come and play cameos. You know what I mean? And they have the ilk of batters to do that, like Shahrukh and Glenn Phillips and so on and so forth. Let's quickly just talk about Punjab, boys, because in the interest of time, we have to, of course, go to Akshay's quiz. He has a belter, and we'll tell you some of the things in the 12th man segment by answering your questions. Next, Punjab. And what I'm fascinated to know is not the obvious, how will Shreyas Iyer go about it, what will be the team selection, so on and so forth. We've spoken about some key names, even in the previews, people like Priyansh Arias, there's Shegde as well, who's in the Punjab unit. How do they get the best out of the youngsters who are still not household names? And will we see those tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm sure we will see them tomorrow. Like we saw Vipraj Nigam starting today. You have Digvesh also playing today. So I think we will see them. When and how, I think, depends entirely on how they start the game and how they look at it. To me, when I'm actually very shocked by the number that Akshay quoted, 2,000 runs as a cumulative for that top three. Then I would not be worried about that 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, because you're speaking 2,000 runs, matlab, or on an average 700 run agar koi maar raha hai top 3 mein, so some or the other is going to bat deep in that lineup, and 14 games you have to do them in these games only. So if that is the line of thought, then I would not be worried. As you said, if they get the platform, they are good enough. Where Punjab can strike to me is the new ball, and if there's a tinge, I cannot wait to see Arshdeep then with the new ball, because to me, every team is going to line up GT like, let's get that top 3 as early as we can. That is as clear as it can be. So you have Arshdeep, big boundary means Chahal is also into the picture. So that brings in. There is Bra, who's a very smart operator again in those middle overs. So I think Punjab are stacked well. I don't know if they'll go to something like a Yash Thakur or who else they want to go. We don't know if Lockie is fit. There is Vaishak Vijay Kumar. Lockie's played for GT. I mean, he was with GT, so he knows a thing or two about that venue as well. So I think Punjab to me have more bases covered. Whether the youngsters will come into the fore or not, I don't know. But I'm expecting a banker for Shreyas, and hopefully that happens.
Yeah, because you think Punjab this season, it's still not set in people's minds that they have Shreyas, Arshdeep, and Chahal as their backbone, so to speak. But you have some really interesting names, guys. I mean, you look at even, for example, Shashank Singh, who went on a podcast early, had a phenomenal recent IPL last year was brilliant. What he did with Ashutosh is there as well. There's Vishnu Vinod, who's of course played for Mumbai before. People like Priyansh Arya hitting sixes in an over, not in the IPL, but in his early career. And then there's Mushir Khan. There's so many little ones that I really want to see how they go about it. Nihal Videra is another one which catches the eye when you look at the roster of names over there. Let's quickly take some comments then, because Cricinfo saying, I think Arshdeep will have a cracker of a game tomorrow. Let's see how that pans out, Cricinfo. Vasant Narayan saying, Phillips is a good batter in pace-friendly pitches. Ball comes onto the bat well. Cricinfo also saying, didn't know Saika Shore is 6'5". I didn't know he's that tall, but he is, mate. He is. Ahmedabad campaign will be good for GT if Ahmedabad becomes Leeds. That's their strength, saying Vasant Narayan. And lots more comments flying through. We'll take some other ones in the 12th man, which I keep harping upon because it's been a long show so far and a distracting one. Odysseus 21 saying PBKS this year is the team to look forward to after years. I'm interested in seeing PBKS play, and usually they play very close match, but here I'm talking about the pre-match first. Good luck to you if you're a PBKS fan, indeed. And Atrio Bhattacharya, you have a banger of a comment with regards to Pant. We'll take that too in the 12th man segment. Right, we're pretty much done with the main chat. We'll move on to the best of the rest because we haven't tackled that yet. And it is a little synopsis of what's gone on in the world apart from the IPL. Right, let's start with regards to Pakistan, New Zealand, and some of the takeaways there, because that's another scene happening right now. And I feel like if you look at what's going on, it was shambles from Pakistan getting all out for 91. But then they ended the tour with a little bit of positive note, chasing down 200 odd. So again, I'm not going to ask Akshay because he doesn't follow any other cricket apart from the women's cricket and maybe a RCB game. So Nikhil, over to you. Pakistan, New Zealand, what did you observe?
Yeah, I think great knock that one from Hassan. I think very refreshing to see that. Slightly shocked by some of those scores. Again, been reading a lot about how Pakistan have shown more intent. I think is it just me or Akshay's frozen completely? Don't know that. But so that bowling, you felt they could do a lot because how New Zealand pacers did, but hasn't been the case with Pakistan. So uh, I don't know how much to read into it. Haven't been able to see those games live because plenty of other stuff to do. But usual stuff from Pakistan, we expect them to have a few great matches, and then you'd be like, catch a drive. You're not quite sure. So it's been something like that. One good game, one bad game. Let's hope they can end with another. They have one more game, if I'm not wrong, the fifth one. So let's see how they end with that one as well.
Yeah, 5 T20s and 3 ODIs. So this is all before IPL, which starts on the 11th of April. So let's see how it goes. I mean, if you guys are interested, go check out the highlights. We're not going to spend too much time on this one, but if there were some other fascinating stats which were coming out of that series, it's available on cricket.com. Right, time to quickly move on and address some newsy things which has happened. Now, central contracts for Indian women, that was something to, of course, celebrate. In terms of a personal perspective and more, there was Shriyanka Padal's name, there was Shefali Varma's name. Now, Akshay, you can actually lend information on this. And I don't know if you're doing the Women's Cricket Podcast this week, but talk to me and how beneficial is it for our current women's cricketers?
Central contracts, of course, has been a thing for women's cricket now for the last few years, and it is very important. Yeah, they need that stability, they need that financial security, and it goes a long way in ensuring something like that. Although there were a couple of I don't know if I can call them interesting, call them weird, but there were I didn't know what was happening there. Like, what was the thought behind it, especially given some of the players' recent form and how they have been performing. But happy that जिनको भी मिला, it is important. सबको contracts मिलना चाहिए. Right now, I don't think we are at that stage where we can say कि यार इसको grade A क्यों मिला, इसको grade B क्यों मिला, इसको grade C क्यों. Nothing like that. सबको अभी फिलहाल मिल रहा है. I'm happy that they've brought in a couple more players under the gambit of the central contracts compared to last year. That is an important sign. So hopefully we get to see these players now being given regular chances, more camps being held, and they develop their skills and improve further. So that I'll just leave it at that for now, because there haven't been too many shuffles. Last year also grade A was Smriti, Harman, and Deepti. It continues to be the same this time as well. Grade B mein it's Richa, Shefali, Jemmy, and two Renuka, of course. Two RCB, two Delhi SC. Yeah, tha. Happy to see the likes of Shriyanka and all of them coming in, of course. Nice to see that. But Uma Chhetri was an interesting inclusion as well. But theek hai, abhi now that they are looking to back them, fingers crossed they'll do well.
And just so you guys know, and you guys can read more on cricket.com, the highest paid out of all of them is a grade A, and there's 3 cricketers: Harmanpreet, Smriti, and Dipti. All earn 50 lakh, just so you guys know in terms of quantity and all of that stuff. Let's quickly stick with the women's, but they've announced the ODI World Cup venues, which is going to be happening in India. Now, what we understand from this piece of information is it's set to begin in the last week of September, and 5 venues which they've chalked out. Vizag, there is, of course, Thiruvananthapuram, Guwahati, Mulanpur, where, of course, Punjab play their games, and it'll be an 8-team tournament. So, fascinated to see how it all kind of unravels with regards to the women's cricket, and more on that space with Akshay.
On that, it's not been confirmed yet. These are still reports, so we're yet to get something official from the BCCI itself. These are just news reports right now. The reason cited for not going for some of the tier 1 cities like Bangalore, Mumbai is because of the domestic season starting, and rains also being cited in some parts of the country. But I'm hoping that come se come 1 or 2 out of Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, popular cities get the nod, because crowds ko bhi bulana padega. You can't expect the World Cup to be to be held in Thiruvananthapuram, Guwahati, Mullapur, and think ki crowds aa jayenge. It's almost, मतलब एकदम ऐसा Yeah, I just hope that does not end up happening. I'm fine with these surfaces, these venues, but एक दो तो कम से कम Mumbai, Bangalore types होना चाहिए, Chennai.
I agree. I think you establish the game first before you want to grow it in different parts. And they explored even Vadodara not too long ago with regards to the India women's, West Indies women's series. Before moving on to more things, quick score update with regards to Vizag, DCLSG. They've lost an opener in their pursuit of 210. And that is, of course, Jake Fraser-McGurk. Gone for one. Even Duplessis, the fact that he just got off the mark for his new franchise in an absolutely ridiculous run where he's done a pulty across the non-striker crease to get home. So, look, it's not boding well for DC so far, but we'll give you updates on that. And, of course, we'll put out some reaction, shorter content, memes. So watch that space closely. Before we finish the best of the rest, real quick one here. Duleep Trophy, there was some news about that. The format going back to the 6 teams, i.e. East Zone, West Zone, South Zone, Central Zone, so on and so forth. So the 6 compared to the 4 that they did. And they've not specified any reason, but they just want to just take a U-turn on that whole policy. The last bit of information, and it's a somber news. Tamim Iqbal, apparently he suffered a heart attack during a game in Bangladesh. He's, of course, tended to the hospital, angioplasty and whatnot. So, speedy recovery that we would want to wish the Bangladesh legend from our end at cricket.com. We wanted to kind of revisit the new rules, but we'll probably save it for some point in time later. I know there are some questions, in fact, from the 12th man with regards to the saliva and all of that. So we'll probably cover that there and move on quickly. Before we go to Akshay's quiz, what to watch this week? Plenty of things. Now, we've also kind of outlined what our properties will look like this week. Remember, we have classics dropping out tomorrow. That's going to be an absolute watch. Remember cricket.com classics? It's a story, narrative sort of content strand, which you guys love. GT Punjab, we gave our predictions and thoughts if you guys are just tuning in. Tomorrow, or rather day after, there's lots of cricketing action in terms of New Zealand, Pakistan, the men's, that is, New Zealand, Australia, the women's, and of course, RR taking on KKR. I think that comes from Guwahati, if I'm not wrong, which will be good to see. SRH, LSG as well. It'll be a fascinating contest there because let's see if LSG come on the right side of the result here. And then Friday is a mouth-watering contest, CSK, RCB. And then you can see the rest where we're doing the watch-alongs on the weekend. And we'll be back for Monday Night Live next week. So let me just confirm if RR KKR is in Guwahati. It is in Guwahati. Let me just get that out of the way. Right, on to Akshay's quiz. Now, last time round, there was a winner, I think, but he'll confirm that in Howzzaat. Now, there wasn't a winner, was there?
There wasn't one, and this time I know कि ये थोड़ा ऐसा एकदम I feel acting आपको थोड़ा better करना पड़ेगा. सीख के आओ थोड़ा अच्छे से. But yeah, of course, last week's question was on the IPL. Let's just have it out. If Quena Mapaka is the most recent uncapped overseas player to be signed in the IPL, ID, who was the first such player to be signed in the history of the tournament? Fairly simple, काफी straightforward था, which is what made it so interesting because I knew काफी सारे obvious red herrings हैं, banana peels हैं that people would go to. And that did end up happening. A lot of you, first of all, attempted, and a lot of you went for Dominic Thornley as expected. A lot of you went for Sean Marsh as expected. Unfortunately, neither of them are correct. So, to give you some context, before the first IPL, there were 3 auctions that happened, or rather 2 auctions and a draft that happened. First on the 11th of Feb, second on the 5th of March, and then there was a draft that happened about another 15 days later on the 19th of March. First round of auction on the 11th of Feb, only marquee players were sold. There was no uncapped player, nothing. Second auction, only one uncapped player was sold. And that was the first ever uncapped player, of course, in the history of the tournament. It's none other than a certain Australian, Brett Jeeves, who played for Delhi Daredevils, who later made his Australian debut a year and a half later. But unfortunately, of course, no one got it right because Dominic Thornley and Sean Marsh were signed a couple of weeks later by their respective sides in the draft that happened outside the auction. So Brett Jeeves technically was the only one to be bought in the inaugural auction. Yep.
Brett Jeeves, I think, shared the ball with Yo Mahesh. Glenn McGrath. Was it the same year?
Yep. It's the same year, 2008. He was a part of the Delhi Daredevils, as it was called, as it was known then, for just the first season. So yeah, that is true. He did share the new ball with the likes of Glenn McGrath, Yo Mahesh, Ashish Nehra even. So it was pretty interesting. Oh wait, no, Ashish Nehra was part of Mumbai Indians in the first season. Apologies. But yeah, that was that from last week's Howzzaat. No winners, unfortunately. Hopefully, we'll find someone this time around. Once again, of course, in the theme of IPL, I've given you 3 pointers. I just want you guys to identify who this player is. I made my debut in 2019 and have won 2 IPL trophies so far. Sorry, this is IPL debut, just to be clear. I made my IPL debut in 2019 and have won 2 IPL trophies so far. I've been a part of 5 IPL teams in the past, but played no more than 1 season for any of them. Thirdly, a batter for most parts, I've played less than 10 IPL innings in my career. Who am I? So 3 pointers, once again, I'll just repeat it. I made my IPL debut in 2019 and have won 2 IPL trophies so far. I've been a part of 5 IPL teams in the past, but played no more than 1 season for any of them. A batter for most parts, I've played less than 10 IPL innings in my career. Who am I? So that's it. Very simple. And like always, please wait for the live stream to end. Do not enter your answers in the live chat. Wait for the live stream to end and key in your answers in the main comment section in order to remain eligible. And fingers crossed, we'll see a winner this time around. It is what it is at the end of the day. Cricket for चाहिए कि नहीं? थोड़ा माल कमाना है तो थोड़ा मेहनत करना पड़ेगा ना?
I like how Akshay says, again, very simple question. It's not a simple question because you made the quiz. It's simple for you, but it's a good one in terms of just understanding how cricket is consumed and the knowledge, especially in the chat that we have in the community that we build. It'll be a fascinating one. But that was Howzzaat. Time to move on to the 12th man segment where we answer all the questions, some brilliant ones this evening. Right, you're watching the 12th man segment, and I just have to start without answering any questions first because I look to my screen to the right and it's 7 for 3 Delhi Capitals. Let's just have a 3-second moment of silence for Gurkirat, Shubh, other Delhi Capitals fans. 3 seconds starts now. Thank you. With that being said, Nikhil, you can go first ball with regards to some of the questions this evening. Lots of good ones. A few came your way, which I'll, of course, scroll up and go through. But let's start with this man here. What's his name? Good to great. He had a few. Where was that question, damn it?
Upload tab tak I'll just answer this one. Naseem, don't worry, I've already forwarded to our social media team. Just that we've had some technical issues in the last month or so. There's been a delay with the vouchers, but don't worry, we'll process it ASAP.
Yeah, okay, fine, super. Sorry, Tushar Singh said, I don't know about anyone, but I didn't enjoy the match between SRH and RR. I felt literally asleep between the match. SRH stuck in the fun out. I mean, now this is something that I even asked fans on the ground, Nikhil, the fact that what do they like to see? And it was almost like a 70-30% split. Many people felt like under 200 is actually pretty fun, but over 200 is now just getting boring because it's bat versus bat. So what's your take on it, just as an expert, fan, lover of the game?
I think, see, last year also we began on the similar note. I think surfaces were far better in the first half, and then gradually we rarely saw 250 or plus scores in the second half. I think you have to credit SRH also. You do not know if this is going to be the norm in the future. While I am all in for bowling, अगर अच्छा कोई खेल रहा तो you cannot just say कि you cannot say it's boring because it's not easy to score 250, 260, and you cannot bat that way every game. So, firstly, I don't think it will happen every game. But as I said earlier, if it happens only once in 6-7 games, I'm fine with it. And let's just wait on this because you don't know if this is going to be the future. Because you and me can want 180, 160. But if everybody is happy out there watching these games, so then you and me will not be able to decide anything. So let's wait on that.
I think the prerogative, comes down to the groundsman, and they should really make conditions different in different parts of India because that's the beauty of the league as well in terms of football. And apologize if I keep comparing the EPL to the IPL because two different sports, but because it's a blueprint taken from one league to the other to make it good looking, different sort of conditions. You want to see people win in Chepauk on an absolute dust bowl compared to a belter in, I don't know, Jaipur. Or you want to see different conditions in Bangalore, maybe with a little bit more grass on the surface compared to old Kotla pitch, right? So things like that. I'll take one from Asim Hans. I think he's directed to me. Abnish mentions absence of Stark, Salt, and Shreyas from KKR. Should they have retained them? And if so, instead of whom do you count that as a blunder? Also, should they have bought them later on? I just feel like, look, as a champion side, KKR should just be able to build on that squad, right? So you look at what CSK and MI have done over the years after winning titles. They've always added one or two and managed to retain the crux of that squad. So I feel KKR probably missed a trick there. They heavily invested in their youth players, which is fine. And I'm not saying those guys won't come off, but I just think these three are in pretty much a really good space as T20 cricketers. Stark has a wealth of experience. He's, of course, said on a podcast that he's using this IPL to just build up fitness towards the WTC. Got 3 today. Shreyas is going to be probably one of the top run getters in this tournament. And Salt, we saw what he did. So I just got a gut feeling with regards to that. Right. In freaking awesome saying in Chepauk, SRH record is terrible. They'd won only 2 games there on a tricky wicket. They can't play like this for sure. Absolutely agree with you guys. Do you think in hunt for 300 SRH might be skittled out cheaply someday? Akshay, I mean, where was your reservation with SRH not making the playoffs? Because you obviously envisaged them failing in this season. What were those feelings in your head?
I mean, feeling is a strong word. 5th, 6th is technically still I wouldn't call, but I get where you're coming from. Where I think they might miss out on a playoff spot is, of course, firstly, when I look at their batting, I don't see too many names who can actually stand there and absorb some pressure in case they lose a couple of early wickets. Who's going to be the man holding the innings together from one end to ensure that they bat through? I don't see if they have too many such options. Firstly, it's gun, it's explosive. I completely agree. It's extremely entertaining cricket, and all of them are exciting batters. But who will be that one? I generally don't know. If anything, I think Pat Cummins is their best choice for someone like that. Who can just, you remember what he did with Maxwell in that ODI against Afghanistan, something similar. Who can just hold and end up and be there if needed. Secondly, of course, with the bowling guard, I still have my reservations. Barring Zampa, I don't see too many good bowling options. And if you go to Chepauk, like freaking awesome mentioned, or you go to a surface that's even pace friendly, go to even Ahmedabad for that matter. If it's snipping a bit too much, if it's seaming away, seaming in, Shami sure, but I don't know firstly Shami kitne full tilts, मतलब कितना वो full tilt में होंगे firstly, and secondly उनके अलावा फिर कौन? Then Zampa wouldn't be just as effective, which means who else comes into the picture? So I still think they have a decent enough bowling attack. I probably have been a bit more harsh than some of the other, sort of predictions or some of the other people who predicted like you guys. But I think Punjab has a much better shot. That's basically my matlab aisa. Mere ko lagta hai, that's it. So that's why I think SRH will sort of miss out on that playoff spot.
Okay, interesting. Keep your comments coming through because this is your time, the 12th man segment of the M&L. We do this every time in case you guys have been living under a rock. But Keith has a good one. And next you take this one from him. He says, guys, since now they've allowed to change the ball in the second innings because of dew, can anyone just use excess saliva, beg your pardon, in the ball and say ball is full wet and take advantage even if there is no dew? I think the umpires will be paying attention to it. But Nix, is there a loophole to it? The saliva rule coming back?
But I mean, you have to imagine कितना use करेगा तू के
भाई थूका स्विमिंग पूल बना रहा है क्या कि ऐसा डुबा के तो like, and firstly density, sorry, I'll have to just cut Nikhil bhai over here. Density of spit, I mean your saliva and water is different. Dew is slippery. Saliva does not make the ball slippery. There's a difference between the two. It does not. It is of a thicker density, of a higher density, not thicker, sorry. So you can clearly know the difference. Umpires इतने ऐसे अकल के दुश्मन नहीं है कि ऐसा शाइन करके umpire जी तो ball वेट है बोल के जाएंगे. Fair question, Keith, but I don't think it's as simple as that. It won't be the same.
Next.
I mean, I'm still stuck at how can you have a ball? Sorry. So, I mean, the part about this question that's very important is it will bring the umpires into question, and there will be certain games where this is going to spark a debate. Where, how, when, how did you all of this, and what is the new nature of the ball? I think they have made it very clear that they want to replace this one. It is not going to be a brand new ball. They want the wear and tear to be of a similar point of time. If you're replacing at a point 10 ओवर के बाद तो वैसा ही होना चाहिए the replacement ball. So I think that is something that's interesting, that it also says that if you don't ask for it, then maybe you cannot get it later, something of that. So we'll have to wait. How does this exactly work out? And because teams will use it, there will be certain. I mean, in Bombay also, you would expect them to use it. It gets very, very wet. So, but it was expected yesterday also. But nahi aaya. So even today, Akshar Patel said that I expect you to come in. So we do not know. We'll have to wait, and then let's take a call. Kya ho raha hai, kaise ho raha hai.
Okay. I mean, we'll see how that story moves on. Cricket Info saying, guys, what's your take on the low score in this IPL? Will we see a score less than 100 runs? Every IPL has one or two shambles going up. RCB is one of those contenders always because they've got, I think, 3 of the lowest after the 49 all out. They've also been bundled out for cheaper. 71, I think,
70,
comes to mind.
70 against RR in 2014, 81 against KK.
70 against CSK as well, right? That opener.
70 against CSK as well, yeah. Twice. That is true.
We'll have 2 chances at 49. Just to go back to that wild predictions, we'll have 2 teams coming close to 49. Hoga nahi, but they'll come close.
Oh, speaking Nani Korka, last comment le lo bhai. I don't know.
We will. Atlio had this for a while. Now, speaking of wild predictions, he said if Pant continues to flop like this for the entirety of the cycle, his stocks will come down rapidly. I can see in the distant future him going unsold. What do you guys think? No, I don't think that's
nahi hoga yaar.
ब्रांड वैल्यू के लिए ले लेंगे लोग.
ब्रांड वैल्यू छोड़, इतना फ्लॉप होगा नहीं भाई. मतलब
डिस्टेंट फ्यूचर बोला है ना सर. 10 साल 12 साल बाद एकदम स्टॉक्स भी अगर गिर जाता है ना, फिर भी लोग खरीदने वाले तो होंगे.
I just think, I don't know, food analogy wise, Rishabh Pant is like curd. And I know you have flavored yogurt in the market right now, blueberry, strawberry, banana, mango, and that'll excite you. But you need yogurt, just basic good old yogurt. So he will still be around in the IPL, but he'll never go unsold. He'll always be required in some way or the other. Keith saying I asked this question earlier, but you skipped. Yeah, we took that one. Hope I see this channel unbiased. Look, Bhanu Prakash, we've realized since the IPL started forever and cricket.com started, we've been getting pelters in every sort of show. Somesh has been branded as an MI fan. Obviously, you've seen that with us being RCB fans, and we're not going to be mincing our words. We wear our heart on our sleeves. Nix is a CSK fan, and we all perceive the games differently. You guys can get bias as well in the comments. No problem. You're telling me you're not biased in one way or the other in terms of any of your life opinions. You're having a laugh. Wake up and smell the coffee. Come on. Nani Kaur saying KLL officially a father. Look, this is what we expect, and this is what we can confirm. Nani Kofo, I hope you're not making me seem like a fool, but I'll take it because I think that was around the corner. And congratulations, KLL. Brilliant. And hopefully the newborn gets you all the luck and hopefully makes you the KLL of 2018.
Yeah. Sorry, it completely unrelated, but Shub has put this out and I cannot not read it out. So Faf du Plessis and Mitch Starc are playing in the same 11 for the first time on the 7th anniversary of the Sandpaper Gate.
Wow. Only count Shub to do that. Delhi Capital, South African fan. Only Shub can do that. But Shub, thanks for that tweet, and we put it up for you. Abdish, I believe MNL could bring a fan live on your show, at least in MNL's 100th episode. Look, we actually were brainstorming about MNL in terms of how to kind of get it better to y'all. We thought of even doing a little live call-in segment some point in time in the show where it's 10-15 minutes for each fan. And I know that could go pear-shaped and it'd be highly risky on a live show on YouTube where you guys can call in and say random things and hang up. But it is part of what it is. So we'll try to figure out the technicalities of it, but we'll definitely get you guys more active. Maybe dedicate a fan show in a week. Generally Thursday with fans, cricket.com, and then get you boys on and just make it all about y'all. So more than happy to do that. Sachin Upadhyay saying, Akshay, for your information, Vijay Bharadwaj was just a scout. He's not part of the coaching setup. He's in the Kannada commentary panel. He was part of the DRS show today. Now, he's doing 2-3 things. He was also part of that huddle where Badani was having his chat with Peterson there as well. So I think he will be traveling with the team some places or maybe not. But Thank you for confirming that, Sachin. Indeed. Also, congrats to Nix. Yeah, we started off the show by doing that. Literally go follow him if you guys haven't. Twitter is his cup of tea, and other spaces as well. But everything cricket, Nix is your man. You should ask the viewers to keep the camera on while on the show. I mean, bro, they could do crazy things. So we'll have to moderate it somehow, somewhere. Nani Kofo saying, can I meet you when you're in Hyderabad? We'll try. We'll try being there. But as of now, we're not applying a trade in Sunrisers Hyderabad City. Akshay has just challenged the answer quiz in IPL Day 1. What long were you able to text? Now, I think Asim had an incredible answer because he made sure he listed those names in chronological order and he's given the number with it. So if he wins it, props to him. Brilliant indeed. Good to great saying, I watched Pakistan New Zealand T20. It was a pretty much book cricket game. Feel sorry for the bowlers. ICC should seriously look into developing New Zealand cricket playing grounds. Else any batting records will take a beat. But what New Zealand cricket are doing right is that they're playing the women's game and the men's game on the same day. So the crowds are being kept in, and it's something that we've seen in the 100 as well. So hopefully the other countries take that from the New Zealand manual. Nani Korpo slipping in another cheeky one saying Stark and Faf playing in the same 11 on the sandpaper anniversary. Yeah, we took that from Shubh and we'll take that from you again. But Shardul Thakur doing good things. Delhi doing not so good things, but they're 44 for 3. 45 for 3, beg your pardon, after 5 overs. So let's see how that game goes on. We're not doing a watch along today. We're only doing watch alongs on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But it's been almost a close to 2-hour show. But it's been a fun one, guys. Quick things to see in week 2 of IPL. Nick, I'll start with you and we'll end the show. What do you want to see apart from CSK win on Sunday?
Good trying to
Friday. Sorry, Friday.
I think we'll see a very good 100 plus score again. I think it is coming. I think we'll also see I won't say a hat trick, but we'll see a 5 hopefully. So let's just stay at that. Thoda masala chahiye shuru mein. Maza aayega.
Yeah, I had a hat trick on my bingo card list at the IPL 2025. I also had a 5 and a 50 in a game by a certain player. So I'm getting a vibe there'll be Krunal Pandya for us some point in time, but maybe not against Chennai and Chepauk. Akshay,
sorry, सारे wickets एक ही साल में एक ही season में ले लो, बराबर.
But I want to see some fascinating things. Maybe a low-scoring game, maybe a 79 all-out, and it's not RCB. Akshay, if you had one thing that you want to see this week, which is part of your bingo card list, and you want to see being ticked off, what comes to mind? And we'll wrap up.
Uncapped fifer for sure. I want to see a new bowler, someone like a Digvesh Singh Rathi who's bowling right now. A name we've spoken about, or a Vipraj Nigam. One of them just getting a fifer and really, throwing the tournament wide open.
You mentioned Digvesh Singh Rathi there. His bowling action is hilarious. I mean, I know he's doing his Narayan impression, but he is a spinner. And the funny thing is, he bowls it like a little bit like Rahul Chahar, the action. But his follow-through is like Brett Lee. So he has 3 or 4 bowlers in one action. Justin Langer's just been like, mate, I like you. Mystery, right? X Factor, right? Get into my team. And I don't know if he's seen highlights of the Delhi Premier League or SPAT where Digvesh, I think, he's played for UP. But look, let's see how the story continues for all these uncapped players, and more to see tomorrow with GT Punjab and later on as well. We'll be there in terms of cricket.com to cover it for all of y'all. And like you guys can see in our handles, follow me for Instagram content, follow Nick's for all content, but more on Twitter. Akshay's on Twitter as well with WhyCricketWhy. And you guys can follow us in terms of all the other stuff that we're doing on cricket.com. There's a wicket, and we'll end with that because Delhi are in shambles. Is it going to be another shit season for the Capitals, or is it just an aberration with their new squad? Only time will tell. That's all we have in this one. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic week ahead, boys and girls. And please like all of our content. Go check out the fan cams and the memes and the reels. On that stunning note, happy Monday. Happy IPL. Cheers.